Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett, and welcome to Something's Off, a true crime podcast where right now what we're doing is we're questioning the sanity of not only Lindsay Clancy, but also the Commonwealth of Massachusetts ADAs in this case. Because they pulled some crap yesterday, day 15 of the Lindsay Clancy case, and it was a lot. It was a lot. Right, I gotta plug my computer in. Oh, so here we are, back in the case. I got let's play this video quickly so that we can start off on a happy note, because man, it's ugly. One of our watchers, one of our viewers, one of our listeners sent us the sweetest video of their granddaughter. I think yesterday I said grandson, and if I did, I apologize. I meant granddaughter. I didn't mean to misgender. Like jamming out to our song. So let's play this really quick, and then we're gonna take a quick break. Oh my God. Look at this child dancing to our song. I love it. Speaking of which, good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, allegedly. I'm Smile.
Happy Monday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie. Happy gay summer, Mel.
Happy hump day, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm not humping anybody. I'm Rebecca Lavoie.
Happy Saturday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett. Oh, no.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and my mic is muted.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and that's Briscoe.
And welcome to Something's Off, a true crime podcast where we swat the haters aside with our astute takes and humor and joy. And
the joylessness
I don't give
of those
a
people. Hags.
You hear it first in the break in the story. One little crack and the whole thing gets wary. A witness swears but the timeline bends. A smile too smooth and the trail just ends. Mel Barrett says, hold up, look again. Rebecca Lavoie follows every thread. If it feels too neat, then it's not the truth. There's a shadow line running through the room. Something's off, something's off. You can feel it in the bones. Something's off, something's off. When the facts won't come home. Something's off, something's off. And the case won't stay in place. Something's off. We're the ones who chase.
We're gonna go members only.
Yeah, we're the ones who chase. Wait, did that witness just blink 3 times? Something's off. Something's off.
Something was really off yesterday. It's so bad. Hold on, let me just change my settings. I want noise cancellation on, please. I don't want to hear my fans. Everything feels very, what's the word I'm looking for? Do that. Noise cancellation is what I want. Noise cancellation is what I want. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. Okay, I think I got it. There we go. God. It's amazing to me that this mic doesn't pick up everything that's going on in this little pod because it's so loud in here. It's crazy. Hopefully you guys don't hear all the fans. Let's start off with the chat. Lineal. Bowhead was straight up cruel yesterday. Oh man, we're gonna get to that moment. There was a lot of shit that happened yesterday. It was messy in there. Good morning, Joy. Good morning, Klutz. Rachel, I'm so glad you're here with us. I'm glad you're awake. Hey, Ruby. Hey, Hyacinth. Sorry. Mama of a medic. Welcome. I know, Fly Like Jeff, the little dancing kiddo, dancing to our song. I love it so much. Good morning from Northern California. Geez, you guys got up early for this. I love it. Thanks for being here. Hags. Good morning from the UK, Elena. Good morning, Teacup. Good morning, Genuinely tonic. Happy to catch this live today. Missed the live coverage of the trial yesterday. Good. There's a lot that happened. This was a drama-filled day. I will say that. There could have been a mistrial. I'm still trying to understand why it didn't happen, but I think so. Free Fost said, Mel, have views increased since you put the trauma-free label on the thumbnails? I think so. Quite a bit, by like 1,000, which is great. My hair is fire today, the other Emily said. Oh, thank you. It's a little crazy, actually, because we still have tons of humidity here. But thanks for saying so. There were some very cruel moments I had to stop watching. Yeah, and there was some testimony that we're not going to be able to go into detail about yesterday that was really, it was gross, and it was about the children. So we're going to try to stay away from that, but I will try to recap it for you in a way that isn't traumatizing. But I feel like it's even more traumatizing when Bo Peep or her co-counsel are doing the questioning, because they have no empathy whatsoever. They do not care that several of the witnesses they've put on the stand and several of the defense witnesses lost their children, grandchildren, nieces and nephews. It's awful. It's awful to watch these women work. And I also have a tweet that I'm going to share from you from Judge Erskine in Massachusetts, who had a lot to say about the moment that we're going to see. And I think it's really important what she has to say. So I want to share that. They are aggressive and condescending. You're absolutely right, Boss. Good morning, Menopause Rising. Menopause Rising is in Germany. Ute Reuter. Did I get it right? Mallory said, I'm so grateful for your coverage, Mel. You are doing an incredible job. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. I mean, I think that this case is incredibly important. So I felt like I needed to bring it to you guys, but in a way that wouldn't re-traumatize everybody. And then right off the top, I just wanted to say we got a couple of tips in yesterday after Rebecca and I finished our stream. So I wanted to acknowledge people. Thank you so much, Audrey, for the $15 tip. You gals are amazing. I appreciate all the hard work you put into this space. Also, so many Dever mispronunciations. If you know, you know. Chloe also sent over $15 and said, thank you for your excellent podcast and work. I appreciate you and Rebecca so much. I appreciate you. And the reference to Dever comes from our Monday night cross roast, which we did this last Monday, where we did the cross roast of one Miss Kelly Dever. And Rebecca made a joke and said, if you've ever pronounced Kelly Dever's name wrong, Dever, then you owe us $5. We got a lot of people tipped us because of that. So if you feel inclined to tip, please do. It really helps the show. It really keeps us moving, and nobody takes 30% from our tips like YouTube takes from our memberships and super chats. If you want to tip, the Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal are at the top of the screen. I should probably also put it in the chat. Hold on a second. I'm going to do that. Upcoming. The ads of it all. Sometimes when I have my YouTube up and it's not on the sorry, just doing little techie stuff here. When I have my YouTube up and it's not on the premium account and I get blasted with the ads, like I understand what you guys are saying about the ads. I hate the fact that we have to put ads on the channel, but it's the only way that we actually can make a living. I don't want to, like, I'm not a shill for Google. I don't want to pimp out Google, but if you do the membership light, like the premium membership light, which I don't think is very expensive for YouTube, it gets rid of ads. And it's a really good thing. And I wish there was another way for us to make money and pay the bills, but you know, you guys are, you listen to podcasts on like the general feeds like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, they all have ads, and it's how we pay the bills. And I mean, everything has an ad. I mean, even if you're scrolling Facebook, there are ads all over the place, but they don't blast into your ears. So I get it. Love, peace, joy forever. said YouTube Premium is the best thing if you want it a lot, if you watch it a lot. And it's cheap. Actually is cheaper if you do it through your cell phone company. Is that true? I didn't know that. Hello, Tracy, who's in London today. I'm going to be in London for a full week in November. So I'm hoping to touch base with some of our listeners and watchers from London. So I'm going to try to set up some sort of a meetup while I'm there. So I'll keep you guys abreast of that. Yeah, premium is the way to go if you can afford it. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know how that works, Mama Vometic. I haven't seen that option, putting the ads on silent. I don't know how that works. And I don't remember that from our studio, but I know they play commercials at the gas pump now. I'm paying enough for gas. I shouldn't have to watch commercials too. I understand. It drives me nuts too. Okay, let me pull up my notes right quick. And let's do a little bit of housekeeping. So what I am planning to do, today is Wednesday. Rebecca and I are going to be back on tomorrow at 2 p.m. I am, 2 p.m. I think I'll probably be doing the recap of today's testimony tomorrow with Rebecca at 2 p.m. But I will definitely, keep you guys updated on that. And Friday, I will be doing the update for the Thursday hearings or the Thursday trial. And then probably Saturday morning, I'll be doing Friday if they have a Friday. If they don't have a Friday, then I will be doing it. I won't be doing it. There won't be anything to do. But I do have a little personal, for my personal life, I have regionals this week for tennis. So I'm playing on Saturday later in the afternoon. So I'm hoping to get everything done by Saturday morning. And if I don't, then I'll come back on Sunday and meet with y'all. And then we'll be back to it double on Monday with Rebecca Lavoie, Little Red. Hey, the struggle is Teal. How you doing? Glad to join for my walk to work. Glad you're here. Okay, I've got my notes up. Got my time code. Let's pull this video up. So yesterday we were carrying on with the defense's case. Oh, thanks so much, Debbie, for the $10 tip. Deaver. That's the Deaver toll. I don't remember what I called her the first time, but I'm telling you guys need to go back. For those of you who are members, and if you're not a member, become a member. It's pretty cheap. It's like $2.99 a month for the lowest level. And if you want to pay more, you're welcome to. We have two tiers that are available to y'all. But if you want to go back, you should go back and watch the crossroads from Monday night, because it is so cringy. I forgot how cringy Deborah's testimony is. She's awful on the stand. I feel so bad for that woman. I feel so bad for her. And Rebecca and I were both just like getting lower and lower in our chairs and like, oh my God, I can't believe she's doing this. It was so ugly. She came into that courtroom thinking she was going to out snark Alan Jackson, and boy, did that not work for her. It's one of the only, besides Proctor, it's the only other witness that I've heard Bev be like hard on. And she literally is like, yeah, no comments. You can't make any comments. Like she like kind of yelled at her a little bit, which was awesome. Let's see. Mark Cunningham, hello, Mark, said, I'm sure Red, meaning Kevin Reddington, doesn't want a mistrial unless it's with prejudice. He should object and at least bring it up, though, right? From what I hear from our friend Bab, who's in the courtroom for Defense Diaries, he did object. The judge got to it first, but I believe at sidebar or maybe outside of sidebar, Reddington also did object to what happened yesterday. But I've been listening to some lawyers talk about this moment, and several of them have said this is cause for a mistrial. I don't know if Reddington would. I mean, I don't know if Judge Sullivan would go that far, but if Lindsay Clancy loses, it's definitely cause for an appeal, a strong appeal that probably would win. So, yeah, he did object. All right. So yesterday, and we're going to see this moment pretty soon into our coverage today, because Susan Clancy, who is Patrick's mom, was on the stand when this moment that everyone in the chat is talking about. Pull it up. We're going to watch quite a bit of her testimony, just because there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot to it. She's a lovely woman, and I feel so sorry for her. One of the things that really bothers me, and Rebecca and I talked about this yesterday, these attorneys, they've never shown any ounce of empathy, which is what I was just talking about, toward these witnesses who have lost their grandchildren or children or nieces and nephews or friends' kids. It would be so easy for them to just say, I'm very sorry for your loss. That's all they have to say. But they can't even say that. And it's, oh, this is interesting. Jess said, Ali Mata was sending Bob cases to share with K-Shred to justify mistrial with prejudice. Oh. God, I love Ali and Bob. They're so smart. I'm glad Bob's in the courtroom, and I'm glad that he's able to communicate with Reddington if that's what's happening. Okay. Yeah, he objected. Okay, let's bring this up. And we're going to start with Susan. Where are my notes? Susan Clancy. All right. Let's see what happens here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just going to ask you, speak into that microphone, keep your voice up if you could. All right. Counsel.
Good morning.
And just tell us your name and spell it, please.
Susan Clancy, SUSAN-CLANCY.
And what time do you live?
Situate.
And you're married to Chris Wilson.
Yes,
And both you and Chris are mother and father of parents.
correct.
And so obviously, you live in Lindsay.
Yes.
Tell us what your relationship was with Lindsay, how you know her, and things like that.
Yeah, Lindsay married my son Patrick, and we had a very good relationship.
And did you have occasion to go to their home
Yes.
in Weymouth?
Yes, I did.
And then in Duxbury as well?
Correct.
And obviously, you and your husband were the grandparents of the 3 little kids.
Yes.
And how was your relationship with the babies?
Beautiful.
And tell us how frequently, to your memory, you were able to visit with your son, Lindsay, and of course your grandchildren.
At least a couple times a month we would see them.
At some point, but by the way, what do you do for work?
Um,
I'm sorry, an RN?
an RN.
And what type of,
I worked in the labor and delivery room for about 38 years.
38 years in labor and delivery,
Correct.
helping women that were having babies. And
Correct.
obviously you kept up with the studies and continuing education and things.
Yes, I did.
To that extent, in your capacity as an RN with 38, well, back then it would have been 35 years of experience, I think.
Yes.
It's fair to say that you, as I said, you would keep up with all of recent developments in postpartum psychosis, like postpartum
Same
depression.
Mark.
all of
He reminds me of my
Somewhat, but I mainly just was in the delivery room
that.
itself.
So were you aware of the various physicians that were in the forefront, if you will, of postpartum studies as it relates to medicine?
Yes.
And would one of the people that you were interested in be a person by the name of Dr. Meg Spinelli?
Yes.
And can you tell us who Meg Spinelli is?
I don't really know Meg Spinelli well. We've spoken a couple of times. I believe she specializes in postpartum mental health.
And have you met with her before?
Not in person.
Okay. Did you at some point ask Dr. Spinelli to help out at your hospital? And I guess they call it a rounds lecture.
I asked her to bring on her experience.
Just so you know, I guess my volume was on. I should turn it off. Tara, this isn't Lindsay's mom. Lindsay's mom was the other day. This is Patrick's mom, who was a nurse in labor and delivery for 38 years, which she's seen some shit, you know, and she's also can recognize when a mom is struggling, I would assume. So we're going to get to that testimony.
Experience and education in that area. I can share it with my colleagues.
Did she do that?
She did.
And as time went by, dealing with your job, your family, your son, daughter-in-law, grandchildren, did you notice in 2022, after Calvin was born, any change in the personality, if you will, of Lindsay?
Several months after that, I did.
Would that be sometime in the fall?
Yes.
And can you tell the jurors, being as close as you were with the family, well, let me back up. As a mother-in-law, did you have any observation to observe Lindsay with her kids?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors about how you saw her acting with her children as a mother?
She was very nurturing, very loving. She was a wonderful mother. Wonderful.
Did you ever see her treat her middle son, Dawson, bad because he didn't like him?
No.
Because she loved Dawson, in your opinion?
She loved her children, all of them, very, very much.
And during that period of time, let's say October, November of 2022, what did you observe about Lindsay?
She reached out to me in November and told me that she felt unwell.
Did she describe any symptoms for it?
She did.
Tell the jurors what she said.
She felt mostly she had insomnia. She was losing her appetite. She was very anxious and sad.
Did she tell you that she was seeing doctors?
Yes.
And at some point, did you recommend, did she come to you and ask you for help regarding seeing a doctor?
Yeah, she asked for my support.
And you obviously gave it to her?
Yes.
And what did you do to make any recommendations for her?
I reached out to my colleagues who were running a clinic for women that were struggling postpartum.
Kathy, that's South Shore?
Yes, correct.
And at some point, as a result of your intervention, was a nurse practitioner, Julie Hall, agreeing to step in and help out?
Yes,
Did Lindsay see Julie?
I believe she did.
And you really pretty much were out of the mix at that point. You basically made the connection, knew that she was on there, right?
Correct.
Did you find that Lindsay was interested at all times, trying to get better and see doctors?
Very much so.
Did you find at all, or do you have an opinion with your observations of Lindsay as to whether or not she was offered help to just spurn it and not see doctors or not have
She was
treatment?
begging for help.
And during that period of time, you were there for her by text and by telephone and in person.
Correct.
Now, during that time that you were, let's say November and into December, the holiday season, do you recall the holidays for 2022?
Yes.
Tell us, was that a fun time for the Clancy's?
She was begging.
Lindsay was struggling. We were all very concerned.
You knew in January, New Year's, actually, that she ended up going
Yes.
to the hospital.
Yes.
You know that she eventually got out of the hospital.
Yes.
Fair to say that you and Lindsay, as I said, communicated a lot by text messaging. Right?
Yes, correct.
So I'm going to approach you with extraction report. A report that is done by the DA's office of the state police with what's called Celebrate, where they can go into, they examine your phone,
No,
they examine Lindsay's phone and obtain texts. Have you seen the texts?
I think so.
I'm going to approach you. You can just take a look and see if your telephone number is on there, just for foundation purposes. Or if it is, okay. And just quickly flip through and see if you recognize those texts.
Nice suit, K-Red.
Look at all of them, that's for sure. The text offer this, and then the jurors would be able to look at what they wish.
Any objection?
Almost makes the same objection.
All right, over the Commonwealth's objection, that may be admitted.
What could they be objecting to?
Thank you very much.
Oy.
Commonwealth?
Oh, this is where it's going to get ugly. Friggin' Bo Peep. Good God, this woman.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so she objected to the text messages being admitted into evidence, and yet she, excuse me, just walked over and grabbed the evidence she just objected to, and she's going to use that in her testimony. Okay, make it make sense.
So you indicated that you were a labor and delivery nurse for 38 years.
Mhm.
And what hospital was that?
Social hospital.
And early on in the defendant's career, did you work with her?
Briefly.
And she then went to Mass General, correct?
Yeah, she was a student at the time.
And you stated that you are aware of a doctor named Meg Spinelli, correct?
Yes.
Did you reach out to her in this case?
I don't remember exactly how she and I connected. I don't recall.
Well, you indicated that you connected with her in a professional capacity to have her come to your hospital, right?
Yes.
But as far as her role in this case with the defendant, did you reach out to her for that?
I don't think I did. I don't recall.
Now, you said that you began to notice some issues in, defense counsel said October, November, but fair to say you weren't aware of what was going on until she texted you on November 16th when she was
Correct.
at the emergency room.
Yes.
And that was at South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And you actually met her there at the emergency room?
Yes.
Was she by herself or with Patrick?
She was by herself.
Did you know how she got there?
She drove.
She drove herself to the hospital?
Correct.
And she was in the emergency room for a while, correct?
I don't know how long. Probably an hour, maybe 2 hours.
Well, you went down when you knew she was there, sat with her for a little bit, went back upstairs because you were working that day, right?
Correct. I wasn't able to go down immediately. I had to wait about an hour and a half, and then I went down.
Okay. And then you sat with her for a little bit, went back up to work, right?
Yes.
And then you came back down at some point before she was discharged.
Yes.
Counsel, can I see a tab just very briefly?
Equals, they are aggressive with all of these witnesses, and part of me thinks, that's just their strategy on this, on these crosses. But the other side of me is like, this feels a little bit more personal. And I feel like what it is, the same thing with Patrick. With this woman, she's pissed off that Patrick Clancy's mom would be a witness for the defense. And so that's why she's so horrific to her. Yeah, it's there. I mean, wait till you see what she does with Dr. Laposata. I mean, Do you all remember the moment in Karen Reed when Hank Brennan brought
So, Mrs. Clancy,
Dr. Russell's age and she gasped? She went like that on the stand. It's like that all day today for these people. It's just yeah, being mean to the victim of family is a very bad strategy. Very bad. I assume the jury is probably a little confused. Like, this woman was Lindsay's mother-in-law, and Lindsay unalived her 3 grandchildren. There's got to be something to the fact that she's taking the stand in Lindsay's defense. I feel like they probably are thinking about it in the same way that some of them might be looking at Kevin Reddington and going, okay, this old white dude is standing up for this woman and fighting for a woman who was suffering postpartum, what seems like psychosis. And they're probably like, if Kevin Reddington is doing that, then I probably should too. I'm assuming that if a nurse of 38 years who was the mother-in-law of a woman who unalived her 3 grandchildren is sitting on the stand in that woman's defense, the jury is probably also thinking, well, if she thinks Lindsay was failed by the system, then maybe I should too. I mean, I think Kevin Reddington is playing chess. These guys are playing checkers.
Mrs. Clancy, you came down to the emergency room and you sat with her for a while, correct?
Yes.
And did she tell you why she was there?
Yes.
And fair to say, she indicated to you that she was having trouble sleeping and she had some heart palpitations.
Correct.
And that's what brought her to the emergency room to get checked out.
Yes.
Did she tell you that she had consumed a weed gummy before going to the ER that day?
She did not.
For fuck's sake.
And in your experience as a nurse, is that's sometimes a reaction to THC or CBD or some sort of weed, that somebody might have a faster heartbeat?
I don't know.
Now, when she was in the emergency room, she was seen by a doctor and provided some medication. Were you there when the doctor was there?
Yes.
And you're aware that the ER doctor gave her some trazodone to help her sleep?
Yes.
Because that's what she was really concerned about, right? The sleep.
Yes.
And when she left the emergency room, did you call her an Uber or have Pat come and get her or call your husband to come get her?
No.
She left in her own car, right?
Correct.
And so fair to say, after that ER visit, you remained in pretty constant contact with her, at least via text message,
Yes.
right? And that you would check in with her pretty much daily. And that's all in these texts.
Telling me, Joy, I think.
Now, you were familiar with the perinatal behavioral health clinic because of your work at Social Hospital,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
And so the person actually that you connected with first was not Julie Paul, was it?
No, it was one of the midwives that I was working with.
And her name's Nanette.
I think so.
And so did she provide you with Julie Paul's contact information?
She suggested Julie.
Okay. And as a result of the suggestion, you reached out to Julie with Lindsay's permission, right?
Yes.
And you said that at that point you made the contact, knew she had spoken to Julie, and you kind of stepped back from the clinic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're aware Julie Paul is one of the only prescribers that the defendant encountered that's not personally named in a civil lawsuit that's pending, don't you?
I'm not sure.
Who cares?
Now, so the ER visit's on the
I get it, but who
16th.
cares?
Contact is made with Julie Paul on November 20th, right?
That sounds right.
Okay. And that would have been your phone call to her first.
I don't remember exactly.
In that time period, well, you know she was going to see providers and meeting with Julie and going to the clinic. Did you offer to help out more with the kids?
Yes.
You were still working full time at that time, weren't you?
Yes.
So fair to say it was kind of limited based on your schedule?
Correct.
Did you have a normal schedule that you worked at that time period?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, as a nurse, did you work day shifts? Did you work
I
nights?
worked the day shift.
So did you offer to watch the kids at nighttime?
I don't remember exactly.
You're absolutely right, Jess. We went over the civil suit here on the channel a couple weeks ago, right before the trial started, and the episode's called Scapiccio's Papers. And she was added to the amended complaint. These people are so disingenuous. It's sad to me because I think they know they can't win this case in the way that they want to win it. And so they hide evidence. They only tell you a little bit about one of the conversations. They only read half of a drug list. They only read certain notes from the psychiatrist or certain notes from the talk therapist. And then Kevin Reddington gets up and goes, okay, let's finish the rest of the note that they didn't read to you. And it's like, the jury, surely the jury, if our chat and I and Rebecca and everybody, if we're all seeing through this act and this bad act as it is, then surely everybody else is too on the jury. I mean, somebody said it earlier. I cannot wait to hear from these jurors if they decide to speak after the trial. This is insane. The way that they go about I'm frustrated like all over again. I watched day 2 twice already. I mean, not day 2, day 15 twice already. So I'm here, like this is my third watch with you guys. And I'm already feeling myself getting angry, and I don't want to be angry. But when she gets to the cross-examination of Dr. Laposata and what she does in that cross-examination is so despicable and so horrible and so performative that I can't imagine any of the jury still being with these people. But I mean, that's just me. If I were on a jury, I would be like shooting daggers with my eyes at this lady. Yeah, Julie Paul is named in Lindsay Clancy's civil suit, not Patrick's. She's trying to insinuate that Clancy didn't sue Julie Paul because she's friends with the mother-in-law. I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I'm not claiming this woman. Non-conversational. Says, Mel, here's my theory. Attorney Buckingham is a disgruntled former high school softball star that never got a D1 offer, and she's been on warpath since that time. First of all, 2 things. I am not claiming her in my community. And 2, I'm not sure she has an athletic bone in her body.
Did the kids come to stay at your house overnight so that she could get some sleep?
No, they didn't.
Fair to say you offered and she didn't want the kids to come to your house, right?
No, that's not right.
Well, were they, did they ever sleep over your house?
No, they didn't.
Correct.
And Cora was 5,
Correct.
right?
Yes, correct. She turned 5 that December.
So at any point, they never stayed over.
We decided together it was best for them to be in their own beds at their own house with all the belongings. And Lindsay's parents were very...
The idea that this woman is trying to make it seem like Lindsay hated her in-laws and that she didn't trust them with her kids is just so ludicrous. And she's just like putting the knife in and twisting it is all she's trying to do. And she's trying to like hurt this woman for no reason. When she starts talking, she's going to get into like what Lindsay said about her in therapy, which is not all that bad anyway, but there's no reason for it. It doesn't help her case. So why do this? Why do this? They go above and beyond to like hurt people emotionally, mentally. And it's like, to me, that just sounds like you wanting to win and not really caring about the case, but you're failing. You're failing miserably. Hey, Paps. Yeah, Teacup, I agree with this. Teacup says they're trying so hard to play on the emotions of the jury, and it's just coming off as mean, awkward, and obvious. Cruel. They're just being cruel. Yeah, so many people don't allow their kids to stay over anywhere when they're that young. Even grandparents. And it's so stupid. It's a stupid line of questioning.
very actively involved in staying over and helping out. So it was the best decision that they stay home in their own beds.
So prior to the November of 2022, did you and your husband ever come and stay over the night so that Patrick and Lindsay could go off?
We never did stay at their house.
And as far as kind of watching the kids or taking the kids outside of the house during the daytime, did you often take Cora on kind of day trips out to lunch?
Yeah, we used to go to lunch together.
How about Justin? Did you take him one-on-one out to?
Not as much. He was younger.
And how about Callan? Did you ever take him out of the house without Lindsay?
No.
And are you aware that Lindsay told one of the therapists that she wasn't close with you as in-laws? And that
I didn't know that, no.
That she said she doesn't generally allow the in-laws to watch her children?
I did watch the kids.
Okay, but are you aware that she told the therapist that?
No.
Are you aware she told the therapist that she didn't have any particular reason why and that they don't bug me about it either?
I didn't know any of that.
Now, Lindsay, the defendant, she communicated with you via text about her issues with sleep and the medication she was taking, right?
Yes.
And as far as the ER visit where the trazodone was prescribed, do you recall having a back and forth conversation with her about that it's okay to increase it if you weren't getting any relief?
The doctor told her that, so I repeated that.
And so you're aware that she was in fact increasing the dose?
I did not know that.
This woman. She's not organized either. I was saying this yesterday. So disorganized. And this like takes
Now,
forever to flip through shit.
once she was seeing Julie Paul, did you continue to have conversations with her about how she was feeling?
Yes.
And you knew that she was taking some new medications after she saw Julie, right?
Yes.
And so these pages are different.
Jesus. Get your shit together, Buckingham.
At some point,
Hey,
after
Brian.
being prescribed some
Brian says, are you also the Pamela Smart Woman host? Yes, I am the Pamela Smart Woman host. That is me.
medication, you recall that Lindsay told you that she thought she developed a benzo dependency, correct?
I vaguely remember that.
That'd be on November 29th, where she says, I just deep down inside of me feel that I've developed a benzo dependence after just 2 weeks of using it. And I feel like no one is hearing that and addressing it. And we keep throwing different meds in the mix that aren't really addressing the real issue. Do you recall that message?
It sounds familiar.
And she asks you, or you respond, so hard, I don't know what to do. So should you not use it? And she responds, I guess not, but then I don't sleep, right?
Yeah, she's doing the, Michelle said, rage flipping. She's doing the Helena Rafferty when she was in front of the Canton Select Board. She's doing the, but I think she's also scared because she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's so nervous. Like in some of the testimony from this day, you can hear their voices shaking. You can hear them like being out of breath, being nervous, because either they're like excited, they think they're going to make some big moment, like big Perry Mason moment happen, and it just falls flat again. But like you can hear them breathing hard. You can hear their voices shaking. She's flipping pages, looking for what she's looking for, but she's so disorganized. I won't drink the Kool-Aid. Thank you so much for the 10 jewels. We really appreciate you. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. It's coming up here.
Do you recall that?
I can't say for certain. It sounds right.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot of specifics.
Okay, hold on. We're doing a little bit of a side chat here. Hey, Brian. Brian says, I went to Winnicott, friend. Did you go to Winnicott at the same time as Pam or the kids? That's very interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
And on November 30th,
oh my God, get to it.
says, I'm not okay and I'm terrified of taking meds tonight. Do you see that in the green?
Thanks, Vanessa.
Yes.
And then your response is, why are you scared? Why happens if you don't take them? What are you afraid of? What about Ambien, right? You're actively trying to help her kind of figure out the medication.
Yes, there were a lot of medications.
Okay. You're aware she wasn't prescribed all the medications at one time, but just a lot of different combinations were kind of thrown around as options, right?
It seemed confusing.
That she's very clear and she tells you which medications she's taking, right? Ativan and Remeron.
Probably.
Okay. And then she also tells you on November 30th when you're talking about it, she says, I know they take time to reach a therapeutic level to have the desired effect, right? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And then you respond exactly. And she tells you that she's just depressed and she thinks it was brought on by the medication, right?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Well, on November 30th at 7:52, I was never ever this depressed. It was brought on by the medication. Did you say that or did she say that?
Again, we've already, like, it's already been established through testimony, I believe, that, excuse me, just did this morning. And we went over this with Sam Benigno when I did my show with her a few days ago. Because of what Lindsay was suffering, she was looking for reasons why she was feeling the way she was feeling. So in her mind, it was the meds making her do this. But because she wasn't diagnosed with the underlying conditions, she was telling everybody she thought it was the meds. And I think she truly believed that. So this doesn't even matter anymore. I really see you. Thanks for the $5. First timer, looking forward to it. Really happy you're here. Thank you so much. Loch Ness, I really want to give Sue a big hug. Me too. Hey, Brian. Yeah, there are actually 3 guys that all live in the same area. Still, they all hang out together. Pete, Randall, Raymond Fowler, his older brother Robert Fowler, and J.R. Vance Latimer.
She probably said that.
Now, you were asked about the holidays and Thanksgiving. You remember Thanksgiving? Where did you guys go for Thanksgiving?
To my daughter's house.
And do you remember telling the grand jury that during Thanksgiving things were better?
I don't recall.
Well, do you remember her saying that she said things were better? Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Okay. You were asked, what was the day like during the big Thanksgiving gathering? What observations did you make? Answer, she smiled. The girls all had Thanksgiving t-shirts on that sort of matched. We took a picture. She mostly focused on the kids and interacting with the cousins and the aunts and uncles. At one point, she went off a little into the distance, and I approached and asked her how she was doing, and she said, I'm trying hard to get better. I'm still working at it. I asked about her sleep. I thought that was important, and also the fact that she lost some weight. She didn't have an appetite, and she said things were getting better.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, during the holidays, you in fact took some time off of work so that you were around a little bit more, correct?
Correct.
And so when you were around a little bit more, did you spend all day, every day at their house?
No.
Fair to say you would come sometimes play with the kids, right?
Yes.
Do shopping for her.
Correct.
And then you actually went on vacation.
Yes.
You and your husband went to Aruba.
Yes.
How long were you in Aruba?
5 or 6 days, I think.
And now moving towards Christmas, you had dinner with them at their house on the 23rd, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember breakfast on Christmas Day?
Yes.
Was that at their house or someplace else?
Their house.
Okay. And then what did you guys do after breakfast?
We went to church.
And fair to say you've previously testified that breakfast was great
Yes.
and that church was beautiful.
Yes.
And in fact, the defendant, she told you that it was great and that she was glad she went to church that day on Christmas Day.
Yes, she did.
And then after that, you're aware they went down to Connecticut to see her family.
Right.
Now, are you an active member in the Catholic Church?
Yes.
Okay. So you're aware that murder is considered a mortal sin?
Council, can I see you over here?
I remember when I watched this, I just audibly gasped at this moment. This is appalling. This is something that, as I understand it, this is lawyering 101. You know this. Okay, let's watch it one more time.
Oh, are you an active member in the Catholic Church?
Yes.
So you're aware that murder is considered a mortal sin?
Council, can I see you over here?
Poor woman. I've heard that there were audible gasps in the courtroom as well. It's just something that you don't do. This is so despicable. Yeah, and I can't tell if she's excited because she planned it or if she was like, well, I might as well ask her this. Why not? But she's not supposed to. I mean, as some legal experts think this is a cause for an immediate mistrial. You cannot inject, first of all, you can't impeach a witness based on their religious beliefs. And they know that. And then you can't inject that kind of prejudice into the jury. And it's like, and also you can't unring that bell. That's the other problem here. It's insane to me that this happened. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe. I was like, surely I didn't hear that right. Just so disgusting. And then I wanted to bring up Carol Erskine's tweet. Judge, this is what she had to say, and I found this, like, she calms me down often, Judge Carol Erskine. And this was one of those moments where I was like, okay, this is like straight facts. You guys probably can't see this, but this is the tweet. She says, in all my years as a lawyer and a judge, this was one of the most egregious lines of questioning I've ever heard in a courtroom. In the Clancy trial, the prosecutor asked Susan Clancy if she was active in the Catholic Church and then asked, quote, so you're aware that murder is considered a mortal sin, end quote. Massachusetts Guide to Evidence 610 could not be clearer. Quote, Evidence of a witness's religious beliefs or opinions is not admissible to attack or support the witness's credibility, end quote. How can a prosecutor not know this? There is a reason for that rule. A witness's religion has absolutely no bearing on whether that witness is telling the truth. By invoking this witness's religious and connecting, by invoking this witness's religion and connecting it directly to murder and mortal sin, the prosecutor injected religion into the jury's assessment of her testimony where it simply did not belong. Disgraceful. The judge appropriately sustained the objection and instructed the jury to disregard it. But some bells cannot be easily unrung. As the old courtroom metaphor goes, quote, if you throw a skunk into the jury box, you cannot instruct the jury not to smell it, end quote. That leaves a serious question. Why would a prosecutor knowingly elicit testimony about a witness's religious beliefs in direct contravention of an established evidentiary rule? And that was my question at the end of this, is why is she doing this? Like, I know it seems insane to some people that, including Rebecca and including some other law tubers, that these prosecutors would be trying to throw this case. But what are they doing if not throwing this case? Like, what are we doing here? What are your thoughts? Why do you think she did it? Tell me in the chat why you think she asked that question and didn't even consider it. Like, did she know? She has to know. She has to know that you can't do that. So if she knows she can't do it and that it might cause a mistrial, then why'd she do it? Y'all, why did she do it? Yeah, Bettero had a good tweet about this too. I think I tweeted what Bettero had to say. Let's see. Pull it up. Mac Bettero. Okay, here it is. Put this up. Mark says, I've seen a lot of inappropriate and stupid questions by prosecutors over the years. I can't recall a more outrageous one than invoking a specific religion, challenging the witness's good faith practice / adherence to that religion, and then a point blank statement to the jury that the defendant is charged with committing a crime that the religion deems a mortal sin. That is mistrial territory and something a first-year prosecutor knows not to do. How is this person trying a case as challenging and complex as the Lindsay Clancy case? And keep in mind, Melanie Little looked this up. These women have been practicing in this DA's office for, I think one of them has been practicing for 15 years and the other one has been practicing for over 20 years. So they know better. So what are they doing? What are we doing here? It's crazy. Don't forget to hit that like button. Okay, let's see. She did it purposefully, Tell the Truth says. It's such a wild thing to say, Melanie Fox said. Let's see. Just to guilt the grandma for not submitting to the Commonwealth's will. But she could have thrown the whole trial. It's not worth it to do that. Just to get in petty digs? I don't understand. Well-seasoned social worker says, as a mental health provider, these attorneys need a good therapist more than LC right now. I want to treat them because I just can't understand their depravity. They have to have personality disorders. I don't know. I'm not going to diagnose any of that, but Rachel said, I couldn't believe I heard that either. I don't like church because of that godly speech through parishioners. I believe in God, but I find the good in all religions. Same. I mean, and to call somebody out, to make them feel bad about it, to make them feel guilt about their religion. And it was such a gross moment. Ugh. I hope to see the sidebar too. Maybe I should FOIA the sidebars. Sidebars. It was the gas purred around the world. Yeah, I was by myself watching this in real time, and I literally just, oh my God. I think that was my reaction. I cannot believe, like, I was talking to myself in that moment. And again, people in the courtroom also gasped. See, this, I am having a really hard time not thinking this is the case. You know what I mean, Jedi? She knows it. She was trying to throw the case because I think she can tell they're losing. I don't disagree. Like, I don't know. I don't think they're going to change anything, Carla. If they were going to, if these, so Carla says, I'm waiting to see how the Commonwealth is going to present themselves today. If they're changing their demeanor or stay with the BS because they 100% see what people say about them, they surely do, because the bows keep changing and getting bigger sometimes. I don't think they're going to change their demeanor. If they were going to change their demeanor, it would have happened during other embarrassing moments. You know, the shut her up comment, if that actually happened, the way they handled Patrick on the stand, the many times that Kevin Reddington has disproved their theories, like so many times they've been embarrassed already in the 15 days of this trial. And I'm like, I don't see them changing their behavior. I feel like they're getting worse. Ugh. See, Kylie thinks they're definitely throwing the case too. I don't know. I mean, people are like, as soon as I say it, people are like, no, Mel, that's not happening. Rebecca said it. I heard Peter Tragos say it. I'm just like, well, then what are they doing then? Are they losing their minds? Are they just forgetting about the case and taking everything personally now? Like, what are we doing? Vanessa thinks they're trying to throw it. T-Dubba says, grasping at straws, that's the only reason. I guess. Ugh, taking a cheap shot. Kylie says, I was infuriated when it happened. My heart was pounding so hard it actually physically affected me. Yeah. Yeah. Mistrial is better than a loss, maybe, Michelle says. Science and Sass says the prosecutors might just be so wrapped up in their own thinking about the case that they can't see the forest for the trees. Maybe. Ooh. Tall Red Tech said she wanted the jury to lean on the religious aspect other than the facts. Yeah, but that is completely inappropriate and could cause a mistrial, and she knows that. Ugh. D-Cool says mother-in-law can think Lindsay will be judged by God and understand she had a mental break. And also, not to like get into a religious talk, but Christians believe in forgiveness and redemption, and that Jesus helped the smallest and the poorest among us. So what? It doesn't even make sense. That's the other thing. It doesn't even make sense what she said. It just doesn't make sense. Because she's mean and doesn't care about the Clancy family, Chloe's mom says. Yeah, but she could have just like ruined this case. I miss Kate. It is, I mean, how many Catholics are on that jury? This is Massachusetts, guys. That's not going to help anybody. Oh, I think they're definitely worse than Brennan. They're definitely dumber than Brennan. Audrey says either she's flat out stupid or she's desperate to get out of this case. Sadly, I can't rule out the former. Yeah, I can't rule out either of those two things. Mama of a Medic says she did it to see if she could. I don't think she really has a clue how badly this case is looking for her. They have to be going online and looking at, I mean, they have to know, right? Carla. Can we see Buckingham's Google searches? Maybe she looked up, what do sociopaths say in court to a grandmother who lost her 3 grandchildren? That was a good one. A+ comment. A+. Yeah, this is what I'm saying, Joy. Joy says, what got me was that after that dress down by the judge, her tone and demeanor didn't change one iota. Yeah, she doesn't, like, they're not changing. They're not changing how they're behaving. And she practically high-fived her co-prosecutor. Really? I'll have to take a look at that moment. I don't remember seeing that. Okay. Yeah, it is. That's interesting, Kylie. I've been drawing parallels with Kelsey's case. This is really wild to me. I watch a lot of jury trials, and I keep seeing stuff for the first time ever out of this state. Yep. Same. Okay. They both have been disgusting, despite the look on my face. Says, I agree. Oh, I can't believe that you're with us, Rachel. It's so early where you are. Sorry, Mel. Got up at 4:30, sipping first cup of cafecito. Love it. Yeah, Science and Sass says, and the religion question in this case has nothing to do with anything. It seems like a play for moral superiority in front of the jury. It feels like she was shaming her. Ugh. Fly Like Jeff says, I don't mind the bows, but I'm currently wearing a fried chicken restaurant shirt that says the only thing thicker than our thighs are our thighs to my corporate job. Love it. Love it. When you didn't think the Commonwealth could go lower than Lally and Hanky. I know, right? I really didn't think there was, I thought that was the bottom. I thought that was the ground. I don't, Vanessa says, I'm praying it's not a mistrial. Could Lindsay really go through this again? They're trying to do something. I mean, if the Commonwealth retries this case, if it's a mistrial and the Commonwealth retries this case, like something's seriously wrong in the state of Denmark. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I really question the training in DA's offices. It makes me uneasy living in Mass. I hear you, Michelle. I hear you. This is why I question. This is why I don't trust some judges and prosecutors, because I think it used to be, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think it used to be you tried a case because you wanted justice for victims and for the family, and you wanted to hold somebody accountable. Now it just feels like DAs and prosecutors' offices, they are just looking for a win. They're looking for their conviction rate. I've talked about Vanessa Rodriguez's case a whole bunch on this channel. The prosecutor in that case, the DA in that case, Pierre Hess Graf, she is known for talking about her conviction rate. That's the one thing, like, she's so excited about her conviction rate. And sometimes it feels like that's just all they're going for anymore is getting a conviction. And that's not how this is supposed to work. They need to stop trying to make fetch happen. Aaron, you're absolutely right. That was the name of my that was the name of the dog walking pet sitting company I owned for 13 years. It was called Fetch, because we make fetch happen. You know what I'm saying? Hell yes, we can all check in for the FOIA, Rachel says. Not throwing it, just heartless, Jess says. Mistrial would let them get a new jury. Yeah, but if they were to try this case again, how would they change it? They don't have anything. That's the problem. They're trying a case that the charges should have never been brought to begin with. So it's like, I don't know. CC Beaches says, Mel, love you, but they did not say shut her up. They said shut it off. These prosecutors suck, so no need to. Yes, I know that some people hear it differently, and I'm not even sure, based on what the DA said in their statement about that moment, I'm not even sure the prosecutor said it. We don't know who said it. That's at the end of the day, we have no idea who said what they said. I hear you, though. I know. Did somebody check on Father Bob in that moment? What Father Bob? Justice for Father Bob. Rachel says, why would they change their demeanor now? I don't think they are capable, even if they wanted to. Totally agree. Okay, let me get through. Whoa. Remote juror nurse. Wow. You got all the things in your name that we should be celebrating and thanking. Remote juror nurse, thank you so much for becoming a member. We really appreciate you. Hope to see you on Monday nights for our crossroads. Yes, Ellie Nono says, everyone leave a like. Appreciate you, Mel. Thank you. I appreciate you, Ellie. Thanks for reminding everybody. Yeah, please go like. We got 371 people watching. Go like the video. All right, let's get back to this. We got a lot more to cover. I'm missing a lot of the chat, but I'm gonna have to keep it moving here, people. All right. Let's see. Here. Day 15. Wait a minute. Where did it go? All right. Yes. I'm talking to myself a lot today. Okay. So right now, just to remind everybody of where we are. This is, so she said the stupid comment she said about mortal sin, and the judge immediately called a sidebar. And so they're up there now talking at the sidebar. And then he's going to come back, but the audio is cut a little bit. So let's see what he says here. Woo. Okay. So keep in mind the audio is cut, but he is instructing the jury.
All right. And what that means is you are not to consider.
Right.
All right. And what that means is you are not to consider it for any reason or any purpose. Okay. All right, counsel.
So you were aware, Mrs. Clancy, about the stay at
He struck it from the record, but again, you can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. The jury heard it. Who knows what they're thinking? I hope they see through her. I hope that they see that that was completely inappropriate, but who knows?
McLean Hospital from January 1st to January 5th, correct?
Yes.
And did you come to the house to help with the kids during that time period?
Yes.
And fair to say, when she came home on the 5th, there was a party for Cora on the 7th.
Yes.
Did you go to the birthday party?
No.
Were you at the house much between January 7th and January 24th?
I don't remember.
Do you recall previously reporting that you hadn't been at the house?
I don't remember.
Good for you.
And during that time period, you never took the kids on a day trip or for a visit?
I don't recall.
And were you aware that between January 7th and January 24th that Pat and Lindsay went to the Cape Codder with the kids?
I'm aware of that.
And that they went to the Museum of Science with the kids?
Yes.
And that Pat left
Okay.
Dawson and Callan home, or excuse me, left Dawson and Callan home to go take Cora skiing. Were you aware of that?
It sounds accurate to me.
On the ski trip, did they ask you to come over and stay with Lindsay while she was with the other kids?
I don't remember.
And you were asked on direct examination about Lindsay going to see providers, and you said, I think she was begging for help, right?
She was.
Did you attend any of those meetings with her therapists or doctors?
No.
So you don't know what she told the providers, right?
I don't know.
And you don't know what kind of help she asked for other than medication, do you?
No.
And do you know whether there was any other options offered to her other than McLean, like a partial hospitalization program or intensive outpatient? Were you aware of those options?
Yeah.
And do you know if she went?
She went to Women and Infants.
So that's the one day where Pat dropped her off and went skiing and then came back, right?
Oh,
I believe so.
what a fucker. I mean, seriously, stop being such a dick. Like, now you're getting in a dig at Patrick, this woman's son, who lost his 3 children. Ugh.
Nothing further.
Go sit your ass down.
All right, Ms. Ray, can you redirect?
So she asked you about options that were available to Lindsay, correct?
Yes.
You mentioned one of them was that she could go to the Women and Infants program in Rhode Island that specializes in perinatal and postpartum. Right?
Yes.
You know that she went there, right?
Correct.
You know she was turned away because she was over-medicated, right?
Yes.
You also know that they gave her numbers to call suicide hotlines, right?
Yes.
She called twice, not once, but twice, and again was turned away. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Come on.
Just on that.
Just on that. Just on that.
So you're aware she was turned away because she told you she was turned away, right?
I don't remember the details of that visit or that day.
You didn't review the records, did you?
No.
So you're not aware that they actually deferred to Pat and Lindsay reporting over medication?
I remember something being said that she wasn't a candidate for that program. That's what I recall being told by Patrick and Lindsay.
Okay. And that's because everything she described was reported connected to medication and occurred well after what's considered the postpartum period, right?
I don't know.
Well, you're a labor and delivery nurse. You know the postpartum period could be up to a year, right?
I've heard it could be longer.
But generally, it's within the first 12 weeks that you start to see some symptoms.
I don't know.
You're aware that she was sent from women and infants with actually several options, where it included inpatient treatment for medication management, a partial hospitalization program focused on general mental health, or continued outpatient management. That's what she was sent away with.
Okay.
She's like, okay.
May I? One more?
Go ahead, one.
So outpatient management, that would include somebody like Gelada, right?
Yes.
You know that women and infants called Gelada and she never called them back?
I didn't know that.
Hold on.
Come up, anything on that?
No.
All right.
I want to see
call
what
one.
the
So outpatient management, that would include somebody like Gelada, right?
Yes.
You know that women and infants called Gelada and she never called them back?
I didn't know that.
Come up, anything on that?
No.
All right, thank you, let me sit down. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna watch this moment. A lot of people have been talking about it. Watch Susan nod to Lindsay. Right there. See it? What a lovely woman. She's letting her know, I hate what you did, but I love you anyway, and I forgive you. That's what it feels like to me. Such a sweet woman.
All right.
God, I love her so much. Oh, Lord, this trial.
The jury, this is one of those stops I told you about.
Okay, we're gonna stop here. There was just a lot of start and stops yesterday. This next witness I found fascinating. I didn't know who he was, never heard of him before. His name is Dr. Donald Condi. He is a board certified forensic psychiatrist and psychopharmacologist. I feel like we got a ton of answers in his testimony, which I'm really excited about. And we're going to get to him in just a quick second. I just need to run to the bathroom real quick. So just give me a second, guys, okay? Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, allegedly.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, allegedly. I'm
Happy Monday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie. Happy gay summer, Mel.
Happy hump day, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm not humping anybody. I'm Rebecca Lavoie.
Happy Saturday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett. Oh, no.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and my mic is muted.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and that's Briscoe.
And welcome to Something's Off, a true crime podcast where we swat the haters aside with our astute takes and humor and joy. And
The joylessness
I don't
of
give
those
a
people. Hags.
You hear a verse and a break in the story. One little crack and the whole thing gets wary. A witness swears but the timeline bends. A smile too smooth and the trail just ends. Mel Barrett says, hold up, look again. Rebecca Lavoie follows every thread. If it feels too neat, then it's not the truth. There's a shadow line running through the room. Something's off, something's off. You can feel it in the bones. Something's off, something's off. When the facts won't come home. Something's off, something's off. And the case won't stay in place. Something's off. We're the ones who chase.
We're gonna go members only.
Yeah, we're the ones who chase. Wait, did that witness just blink 3 times? Something's off.
Okay, I'm back. Thanks for the break. Let me get caught up in here. So you are aware you're a proper bitch, right? Okay. Hey, Luna, glad you're here. Can't put the shit back in the horse, as EDB says. That's Emily D. Baker. It was obvious she loved Lindsay and the kids. Tall Red Tech said, I just feel for them, Miss K said. I like Jeff says, hey, we're unsupervised. Someone called the whole high school and we can have cheap beer and sit around someone's house. These are not stupid comments. Don't talk about yourself like that, fly like Jeff. Audrey says, Lindsay could be any of us in postpartum. Her brain was lying to her and the medical system failed her. So I so appreciate that her former mother-in-law is still standing up for her. This case breaks my heart. Same. Oh, Rainbow Sprite, you missed a bit. I would go back. Yeah, we've been on for a little over an hour. There's a lot going on. Okay, let's get back to this. Let's get into the next bit of testimony. I guess we can go through. This was kind of stupid. So they had a very quick motions hearing about a diagram, basically, that Reddington wanted to admit from Dr. Laposata. And the Commonwealth is objecting to it because they're saying that the window is in the wrong place in the picture. It's stupid. It really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in this trial. Let's get to cross 220. We'll just see what the judge has to say about this. Well, I guess let's watch it. It's whatever.
And I know that the defendant has provided, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 exhibits that counsel wanted to introduce through Dr. Laposata. And so I guess, Carmel, if you had an opportunity to take a look at these.
Yes, and we are objecting to these
No.
items. Yeah.
All right. And so why don't we discuss those here in open
Yeah,
court?
I don't know if you guys heard that.
And
The reason why I am laughing, I'm going to rewind it for you. I'm going to try to be quiet because it made me laugh so hard. Here we go.
look at these.
Yes, and we are objecting to these
No.
items. Yeah.
All right.
Did you hear him? She said, we are objecting to these. And he went, no, crazy. Like, yeah, no. Oh my God. Yeah. So funny to me. He has such a good sense of humor and he actually makes the prosecutors laugh here, which I find funny.
Opportunity to take a look at these.
Yes, and we are objecting to these
No.
items. Yeah.
Of course
All right.
you are.
And so why don't
Everyone
we
do you hear everybody in the courtroom laughing? It's so funny to me.
discuss those here in open court and go through it. And so I've had the opportunity to saw these this morning as well. And so Commonwealth, why don't I hear the objections and then I'll hear from the defendant.
The main objection is that the drawing is inaccurate. The window well is in the wrong place, and where they have her falling and landing in slide 4 would be where the window well is actually placed in the photograph. I can pass up the photograph to the court. This is in evidence, I believe, maybe a couple times,
Off. Look at him.
but chalks are
People.
discretionary, but what they should not do is
She says chalks are discretionary, meaning the exhibit.
mislead a jury and present information that's not accurate. And so the drawing itself is inaccurate. And so we're objecting to these slides.
Is that the Commonwealth's objections that the window well is in the wrong place on the drawing?
Reddington.
And putting aside the late disclosure and the fact that I don't know if anyone who created this is going to come in and testify that they created it and whether it's to scale or not. But
geez.
the main objection is that it's inaccurate.
Reddington.
All right, Mr. Reddington.
Thank you. Your Honor, obviously, the window well, you've got, this thing is ridiculous.
I
Here's
think it's
the
ridiculous.
diagram we're talking about. The window well, I'm just gonna, you already have a copy of it, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
The window well is depicted on the diagram, I suggest accurately, And in fact, measurements were taken by the gentleman who did the computer animation in conjunction with information by way of medical provided by Dr. Laposata. And it shows clearly that, as Veronica can see, that
Okay. Do you guys see how ridiculous this is?
talking about the x-rays that are included. There are exhibits that she attaches that shows the way that she falls, how she hits her head. The Commonwealth has been suggesting that, I guess, that they're confused as to how she would have ended up the way she did. This shows the way that she landed on her head, gets the Jefferson fracture, falls back, legs are facing out from the house. She's laying in the snow. They're all depicted there. If there's an issue with the window well that's off according to the government, they could raise that on cross. They could say, well, the window well was really 6.
Okay, so these are the arguments. Who cares?
You know, I could go through, but you can see that we've taken Dr. Laposata can close the area and they photograph actually exactly the way we.
I guess it appears to me slides 4, 5, and 6 certainly go towards the doctor's opinion as to, we said, the mechanism of the injury. That shows the head striking of the ground. And then on the other part of the slide has the x-rays, and there's also a slide regarding the Jefferson fracture diagram. And then 5 is a diagram showing how the thoracic spine injury could have occurred. And there's a diagram regarding the thoracic spine, specifically T6. And then slide 6 shows and I think there has been testimony as that is where the defendant was found. And also then there's a thoracic spine, I think it's either an x-ray or some type of scan, as well as some of the additional medical devices that were found in that area. I'm not quite sure about 1, 2, and 3.
That's fine. I can remove 1. I can remove 2, and we'll just focus if you want on 3
I
through
think
6.
that goes more towards the doctor's
Great.
kind of background and kind of what had been offered in regards to the
Friggin', they just can't. They're so worried that anything he has is going to screw up the case for them, and it already has. I mean, they're so far behind right now. Okay, so let's bring the doctor in. Let's bring the doctor. Grab the notes. This is 2:20. They go on a break for a little bit, and then they come back. And
be done during the lunch period.
so they're having issues with the Zoom, which is how Dr. Laposata is going to testify. So they jump ahead to the testimony of this doctor, which is what we're trying to get to here.
That we would expect defense counsel to offer through expert testimony in the criminal responsibility. Counsel agrees.
For proof or with the expectation in regards to Dr. Condi, do the parties see the need for the doctor testify that, or maybe we could just hear the offer proof or what the expectations of the testimony is, and then we
What are
can.
you thinking, so?
Yeah.
Well, so the objection is that we were provided with an affidavit. The original affidavit that was provided, counsel agreed that it's referred to standard of care, which is not the issue in this case. It really reflects his opinions in a civil case. So we were provided another affidavit, which appears to factually have the same numbered paragraphs and just deletes the ultimate opinion section and adds that Dr. Thompson and Nurse Charlotta were aware that Lindsay was experiencing symptoms of suicidal ideation and a critically deteriorating condition while under their care and failed to take reasonable steps. So it's unclear from his affidavit what exactly he's going to testify to. Is he going to just reiterate everything that has been presented in the records, everything that we would expect defense counsel to offer through expert testimony in the criminal responsibility era about the medication regimens that the defendant was on over the course?
I would love to be a fly on the wall for the private conversations between Kevin Reddington, Rosemary Scapiccio, and Bob Mata, which I'm sure are happening. And I just am like, these women are ridiculous.
The course of several months, because if that's the case, then I would suggest that this is cumulative testimony and that it doesn't need to be presented in this manner to the jury.
But let me ask this, similar to the question I asked earlier, to a similar objection regarding cumulative. The defense has to put it, this is their first witness in regards to that. Wouldn't the cumulative analysis be done if there's a follow-up expert?
And let's not forget that Reddington talked about the repetitiveness of, I mean, these women are arguing, they're saying cumulative, like basically repetitive witnesses. You guys just spent the past 13, 14 days putting witness after witness on the stand who said the same exact friggin' thing. And you're going to object to the defense putting on their expert? This is so ludicrous to me.
Expert. that would be addressing these areas.
Potentially, but
Yeah.
that then becomes the defense's strategic choice about whether if they're going to call Dr. Conde for this piece of it and the other experts for another piece of it. It's unclear, especially where the reports we've been provided by Dr. Spinelli and Dr. Zeizel talk about polypharmacology as part of the basis of their opinions in this case. So it's difficult to assess that, and obviously flagging it and objecting at this point based on what we know the anticipated evidence to be. So I don't know if a proffer is necessary at this point to outline what exactly he expects Dr. Conde to say and how that differs from the opinions of the other experts.
It seems to me that the main objection may lay in regards to Dr. Spinelli then, whether or not independent.
Oh, Christ, these people. All right. We're not even going to listen to these arguments because Dr. Conde does take the stand. That's the bottom line. They can't get Laposata up on the computer.
Opinion as he had the original statement.
Can I just tell him that to make sure?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And now he's checking with Conde to make sure that he's available to come in.
Ready for the jury? Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna bring jury in. There's Conde. He's a little happy warrior. He's a little guy. Little guy, Conde.
All right. Good morning, Doctor.
Morning, Your Honor.
All right. All right. Jury ready?
Thank you, Judge. Doctor, could you keep your voice up so all the jurors and counsel can hear you and tell us your name and spell your last name?
My name is Donald Condie, Condie.
And tell us what you do for work, sir.
I'm a child, adolescent, and adult clinical and forensic psychiatrist.
And can you tell us?
I'm going to tell you guys about his background so we don't have to sit through that part of the testimony because it's always boring. So he's got 40 plus years in clinical forensic psychiatry. He trained at the Harvard Medical School / Massachusetts Mental Health Center. He evaluated thousands of patients with major depressive and psychotic disorders. I believe he also was a teaching fellow at Harvard, if I remember correctly. So we're going to get into his testimony about Lindsay specifically. Bump ahead here. So like 1983, he's been doing this for a long ass time. He's got board certifications. He's probably written some papers.
Period of time that you work with literally more than 100 people that had serious psychotic disorders?
Well, the Massachusetts Mental Health Center was a state inpatient facility. So we had many people with either no insurance or mass health insurance. Probably at least half of the patients at any given time would have had psychosis or a major depressive disorder.
Have you, in the course of your career, following through on psychosis or major depressive disorder, had any focus or treatment on women that are either pregnant or have had little babies and they are looking for help in the postpartum period?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, starting in my residency.
Skip through the residency.
Sometimes with a psychotic depression or sometimes with simply suicidal ideation. And I've encountered that very frequently since then. I was for 14 years the chief medical officer of VinFen, which is a very large agency with contracts from the Department of Mental Health and the Department of Mental Retardation in Massachusetts and in Connecticut.
We don't love that
We
word.
ran about
We don't love that
350
word.
group homes, about 10 people per home, so maybe 3,500 patients. We frequently had people who were pregnant and were taking medications for psychosis. Sometimes after delivery, the severity of their psychosis would increase. So I'm fairly familiar with that phenomenon.
Sounds like it.
Doctor, how many years have you actually been practicing now as a physician?
I've been a licensed physician in Massachusetts since 1983.
So what's that, 83, 90, 2000, 2026? Okay, about 40 years.
A little more than 40 years.
Okay.
Oh,
From 1990 through 2012, were you affiliated with forensic child psychiatry with Mass General Hospital?
Yes.
And were you also affiliated through 2013 with Mass General on forensic case consults in this field?
Yes.
All right. I'm asking, have you had occasion to make a number of presentations? We have to go through them, but did you make a number of presentations and working as a lecturer for various medical schools, law schools, things like that?
Yes. During the time that I was at Mass General Health Center, I was a fellow at Harvard Medical School.
What does that mean to be a fellow?
It means you're a resident in a training program and you're teaching Harvard medical students things about the specialty in which you happen to be practicing.
And what was the specialty that you were a fellow lecturing Harvard medical students about?
First, it was general psychiatry, then it was child and adolescent psychiatry, and then it was forensic psychiatry.
So in case you guys haven't noticed, this guy is an expert, a big time expert in psychiatry. And that's a lot of what this case is about. All of the witnesses that went on the stand for the prosecution, for the most part, were dealing with psychiatry, which is, prescribing drugs for mental health. And this guy is a 40+ year expert in this field. So I like him a lot. Liz Miz dropping by to like and say hi. Have a great day, y'all. Thank you, Liz. Thanks for being here. Good to see you.
You also have had various scientific and medical publications that you have been authored on a number of occasions, articles. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I'd offer his CV if I could, just as an exhibit, if that's accepted. Do you know, not necessarily personally, but do you know of Lindsay Clancy?
I know about the case in general, but I don't know anyone personally.
Now, you have never met her. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You've never talked to her, right?
Never have.
You've never evaluated her for what's called criminal responsibility. Is that correct?
That's correct. I have not.
I consulted with you for purposes of psychopharmacology and issues like that in this case. Is that right?
Yes.
Fair to say that we've had a number.
Just to preface, one of the things that I really love about this witness, so I want you guys all to pay attention to this, is that he doesn't always give Reddington the answer that he wants. And during the cross, he also does give the prosecution some answers, which is why I believe that you can really trust this guy, because he's not here for a side. He's here for the psychiatry and the mental health. And that means that he's on the right side, as opposed to some of the people who testified previously, like Tufts, Gelada, those women. And so he's like, I'm here to answer truthfully from my experience, and I'm not going to give to either side if I feel like it's wrong. I think that's really commendable.
A number of conversations in the evening, off hours, about various medications administered to women that are pregnant or postpartum. Is that right?
Yes.
Excuse me. Can you tell the jury, in a summary, what documentation, medical records, police reports, things of that nature in this case that you've had a chance to review?
Well, I've reviewed the records of Rebecca Gelada, the nurse practitioner, Dr. Jennifer Tufts, the psychiatrist that saw Miss Clancy. I've reviewed the Brigham and Women's Hospital records and the women and infants records. I've reviewed the McLean records. And I might be leaving something out.
You know about her background as far as her employment as a labor and delivery nurse and her family, her 3 children, and her husband that she was married, right?
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
Okay. So if I could, Doctor, direct your attention to, let's say, the fall of 2022, end of September. Can you tell us what Lindsay's status was as far as maternity leave with work and any complaints that she had at that time regarding her mental state?
From my, excuse me. Could I get some water?
Get some on the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Sorry, my allergies are kicking up.
It's okay, buddy. I feel you.
So from my review of the records, which would start with Dr. Tufts' records, my understanding is that Ms. Clancy was planning to go back to work as a labor and delivery nurse at Mass General. She worked, I believe, the 12 midnight to 12 a.m. shift. And she began to experience, as she had to some extent after her first 2 deliveries, some postpartum anxiety, and consulted Dr. Tufts at that time.
Now, after she had her 3rd child, Kellen, was she in, would you strike that? It's fair to say she was in treatment with Dr. Tufts as a treating physician?
Yes.
Okay. And looking at your affidavit, I believe in paragraph 9, did you determine from looking at the medical records as to the time frame that Lindsay treated with Dr. Tufts?
Yes.
And what was that?
She started in the middle of September 2022, and I'm sure that her last appointment was January 23rd, 2023.
Now, did you have a chance to review Dr. Tufts' medical records?
Yes, I did.
Can you describe them for us, please?
They are somewhat sparse, and there are many checkboxes in the records, but not a great deal of sentences that describe what was done during sessions.
Were you aware that the sessions that Dr. Tufts conducted with Lindsay from September, the end of September, up through January 23rd were all televised on a computer?
Yes, they were all video.
Do you recall the medications that Dr. Tufts prescribed Lindsay?
I believe the first medication she started was Zoloft, 25 milligrams.
And what is that? Tell us what Zoloft is. What effect does it have on a person?
I'm sorry?
What effect does that have on a person?
Well, Zoloft is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which is a type of antidepressant that started being used around 1988, I believe. Prozac was the first one. Zoloft was the second. When it works to be helpful, it combats both anxiety and depressive symptoms that people might have. It also has, in some people, an effect of causing a feeling of jitteriness and increasing anxiety. So it's something that does have some potential side effects as well as beneficial effects.
And when she was prescribed the original 25 milligrams of Zoloft, did she in fact take that, or did she defer on taking that?
My recollection of the records is that she had it prescribed, picked it up, but did not take it for at least a couple of weeks because she did not wish to take medication. She was, I believe, still breastfeeding at that time. There are medications, and Zoloft would be one that would likely appear to some extent in the breast milk.
Okay, so because she was worried about that, she held off on that, but ultimately did take the prescription from Dr. Tufts. Is that right?
The records indicate that she did eventually start taking
Does it indicate,
25 milligrams.
Sorry, does it indicate when she started taking them after that little hiatus?
To be exact, I'd have to look at the records, but I believe it was at the end of September.
And was that dosage increased at some point?
It increased from 25 milligrams to 50 milligrams.
And what happened when Lindsay took the 50 milligrams of Zoloft prescribed by Dr. Tufts?
The records indicate that she had a rather rapid series of difficulties, that she had insomnia for, I believe the records say 48 hours, couldn't sleep. It's something that would be called activation that these medications can cause in some people who are more susceptible.
Now, by mid-October, after she began taking the Zoloft, would you agree that the records indicate a week after starting the medication and increasing the dose, she reported in October to Dr. Tufts what you're relating is that she felt, how did she describe it to Dr. Tufts? If you, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, she felt that she talked about being numb. She talked about not being herself. She talked about feeling worse, not better. Antidepressants usually take at least 2 to 3 and frequently 4 to 6 weeks to have useful effects, but sometimes side effects can happen very quickly.
Did she also indicate, looking at your affidavit, that she was crying all day, she was experiencing mental fog, terrified to start something new, anxiety had gotten much worse? Did she tell that to Dr. Tufts at that time at the end of October?
Yes, I do recall those things being in the record.
All right, and following through again on your affidavit, was there further explanation from Lindsay's recitation of symptomology to Dr. Tufts? Did she further state about racing thoughts, paranoia? What did she say? Look at your report. Look at your affidavit if that helps you refresh your memory.
Look at your report.
I actually don't have the affidavit with me at the moment. I do have some of the records, but
well, let me just approach you then and hand you your affidavit, paragraph 13, and see if that refreshes your memory.
Thank you. Yes.
What did she say to Dr. Tufts?
She reported, Dr. Tufts reported that Lindsay's psychiatric condition was generally deteriorating. That's a checkbox on one of the forms that her records.
What did Lindsay say her symptoms were at that point?
That she was having the racing thoughts, and that she was also feeling, as I said, not like herself. That her depression was worse than it had been. I believe that's also around the time that Dr. Tufts thought of trying a medication called Zulresso.
Zulresso.
Yes.
What is that? Is that you need that by way of injection?
This is interesting.
Yes, Zulresso is no longer marketed. It wasn't a particularly successful medication.
Zulresso, just to refresh your memory, when Dr. Tufts testified she was considering a program, this is the drug that needs to be injected via IV, basically, and you have to be monitored for, I think, 60 hours. Listen to what this guy has to say about it. And to me, what it says is that Tufts was new, inexperienced, and she wanted to try some newfangled treatment. But she wasn't thinking about the cost or, how it would affect Lindsay. She wanted to experiment. That's what it feels like to me. If I were on the jury and I heard this testimony in opposition to Tufts, that's what I would think. You tell me what your thoughts are.
It requires a 60-hour continuous IV infusion.
In a hospital setting or in a medical setting?
You have to be medically monitored. It doesn't necessarily need to be a hospital, but those are not necessarily things that can be done outside of a hospital.
So she didn't do the Zulresso, though, right?
She did not. It also costs $34,000 just for the medication, not for the monitoring.
Okay. What's the next thing that happened with Dr. Tufts and Lindsay Clancy, sir?
$34,000 just just for the medication. $34,000 just for the medication.
Well, if I look at my affidavit, when she stopped taking the medication, the Zoloft, she now felt better as she had felt before she took the Zoloft, but she was less anxious.
What was the next medication?
She was put on Benadryl and had some difficulty sleeping, but also was worried that night because her son was coughing, and she worried a great deal about the children's health.
And that would be something that would also intrude on her sleep, worrying about her children?
Yes.
Okay. What other symptomology traveling through November into December did she relate to Dr. Tufts, according to your review of the medical records?
Well, she talked about things like dizziness, feeling sedated in the morning when she woke up, if she got any sleep at all. And I think she used the term brain fog at times. These are sometimes symptoms that people who are experiencing postpartum depression frequently complain about. She continued to complain about anxiety.
Well, it's not what they're complaining about, it's what they're living, right?
It is a very unpleasant experience, yes.
And continuing on through November, at some point did she leave or stop with Tufts and go to another healthcare provider by way of either emergency room initially and then another healthcare provider?
Yes.
Who was that?
She started treatment with Rebecca Gelada, a nurse practitioner at South Shore perinatal program.
Now, one of the things that was apparent, if you recall, I believe, that she also had initially been referred there by a friend of the family. Is that right? To that perinatal clinic?
Yes. My understanding from the records is that Miss Clancy's mother-in-law was friendly with a nurse practitioner who practiced in the perinatal program, and I believe it actually started the perinatal program.
Yes. And ultimately, or in the beginning, she was treated by a Julie Paul. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you remember looking at the medical records and that on November 27th of 2022, the nurse practitioner Julie Paul reported that Lindsay stated that she was disassociated. That she was not in touch with reality. Remember that?
Associated.
Yes.
And what is that a symptomology? Is that a symptom of psychosis, to be disassociated and not in touch with reality?
It certainly can be. Dissociation it can mean that people feel like things around them are not real.
Right. And that's a pretty serious feeling to have, right?
It is.
And that's pretty common, unfortunately, with women that have postpartum psychosis, right?
We've talked about disassociation before in this channel. I've often brought up a syndrome called fiction depersonalization syndrome. And it's the idea that you are not acting in your own body anymore. You are acting for cameras, meaning because of reality television, now we all think that there are cameras on us all the time. Not we all, but many people feel like there are cameras on them all the time, and they have to constantly be acting for the cameras, even when they're alone. And that is separating yourself. That's what they're talking about here with depersonalization. Lindsay, let's go back to, I thought it was a really good description of dissociation.
It can mean that people feel like things around them are not real.
Right. And that's a pretty serious feeling to have, right?
Right there.
It is.
And that's pretty common, unfortunately, with women that have postpartum psychosis, right?
It certainly can be, yes.
And what are the other symptomologies of postpartum psychosis, sir?
Well, psychosis in general just means a lack of understanding of what's real as opposed to what is not.
Yep.
So a person with psychosis can have delusions, which are fixed false beliefs. They could believe that, for example, they have been told by God to do something. They can also have hallucinations at times.
What kind of hallucinations?
Most people have auditory hallucinations, not visual hallucinations.
Is that correct? Auditory is hearing, right?
Yes.
Okay. As opposed to what?
As opposed to visual hallucinations.
Visual. And in the course of reviewing the medical records, did you see that, in fact, that Lindsay had auditory, no visual hallucinations, but auditory voices?
At times, she reported that she had heard a voice, yes.
Okay. Do you recall that as the time went by, that she, in December, do you remember seeing in the medical records that she was relating that she was heavy, that she couldn't get out of bed, that she couldn't bathe, that she couldn't react, she couldn't love, she couldn't feel? Do you remember any of that from looking at the medical records?
Yes, those are all phrases that I recall from the medical records.
They're all coming from her, right?
Yes.
To the doctors.
Yes.
That would be Dr. Tufts and then Dr. Gelada. Is that right?
Nurse Gelada.
Sorry, nurse practitioner Gelada. Do you recall, sir, that nurse practitioner Gelada prescribed additional medications to Lindsay during that period of time from November through December?
Yes.
Can you tell us what they were?
I'd have to look to be sure, but I believe she continued the...
Guys, no fighting in the chat. I don't know why we would even be arguing right now. Everyone is allowed to have their own opinion. Don't make it personal, please.
Benadryl at times. And there was some talk about the use of Buspar, but I believe that was Dr. Tufts.
About the what? I'm sorry?
I said it. I'm sorry?
What was the word you just used?
Sorry. Buspar, which is the brand name for Buspirone, which is an anti-anxiety medication.
Right. How about Remeron? Was there ever a prescription for Remeron?
Remeron is a different kind of antidepressant, which helps people sleep a little bit and also sometimes helps their appetite.
A little bit.
Yes,
I can tell
that was another.
The answer is yes, she was prescribed Remeron,
Yes, she was.
and that's an antidepressant.
It is.
Is that mocking or similar to, but not exactly the same as the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, Zoloft, Prozac, things of that nature, right?
It's similar in the sense that it has an antidepressant effect. It has some effect on serotonin. It has some effect on the adrenal adrenergic system as well.
What?
The adrenergic system. Adrenaline is a neurotransmitter. It's also a hormone that circulates if you are suddenly scared or something like that. You get a surge of adrenaline. So if you were in a near-miss car accident, you might find yourself shaking because adrenaline will flood into your system from the adrenal glands. But it's also a neurotransmitter, and mirtazapine has some effect on that.
Now, you said mirtazapine. Is that the same as Remeron?
Yes,
Okay,
sorry.
So it's two different names, generic and not generic.
Mirtazapine is a generic name, and I was taught to use generic names, but
Okay.
yes, Remeron is.
Around this time, Lindsay has been prescribed
All the
the
time.
Prozac. She had been prescribed the Remeron. She had been prescribed the Benadryl. She had been prescribed other medications very similar to the SSRIs. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And this, the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, that's fancy word. What does it mean? Isn't that serotonin in your brain? Doesn't it block or in some fashion affect
I'm going to get
your brain?
into,
It's a little complicated to explain, but serotonin.
Tell the jury what serotonin means and what happens.
I think a lot of you understand, at least on the peripheral, that what he's talking about with serotonin. He goes into a very technical description of how our brains work, and that's a lot. I want to hear more about Lindsay, so I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Okay, we're talking about women and hormones. Did you say males or mammals? We're talking about breastfeeding mammals.
Experience postpartum blues.
What is postpartum blues?
It's a feeling of.
Thing.
I'm sorry.
Sounds like a 50s thing. What's postpartum blues?
It's a feeling of low energy and being sad, not as serious or usually as long as postpartum depression.
What is postpartum depression? Is that the next level?
It's a more serious condition where the woman may feel that she can't connect to the baby, that she feels isolated, she has no energy, she may also have insomnia.
So, for example, if a woman is unable to sleep, feels as though she's losing a contact or connection with her infant, is stressing about not having that contact with her infant, feels that she's unable to emote or feel love or any emotions and can't relate to people and also is out of reality, are those, or disassociated state, are those, in your opinion, symptoms of postpartum depression and or leading to postpartum psychosis?
Yes, they are.
And Lindsay had those symptoms, didn't she?
Emphatic.
She reported all those symptoms, yes.
Doctor, when a doctor like Tufts is meeting with a person and checking the boxes, can that doctor
Glad you're
give
here,
a blood
Casey.
test to the patient?
Certainly.
Is that important in your opinion, that a doctor?
So I just want to clarify. I think that the prosecution was actually able to establish that Benadryl was not prescribed. It was over the counter, obviously. And Lindsay was taking it for sleep. She told her doctor she was taking it, but I don't believe that they told her to take it. They didn't make a fuss about it, though. So I think that's the clarification there.
Doctor, give a patient, especially a woman who's coming to them for help with these symptoms, give them a blood test.
Yes.
And again, we all know what blood tests are, but just tell me, I mean, is that a simple test? Is it a complicated test?
It's fairly simple to have blood drawn, and there are many tests that are relevant, particularly after a woman has given birth.
Why?
Well, some women become anemic. It depends on how much blood loss might have occurred during birth, but there's usually some blood loss. So checking hemoglobin levels is important. The thyroid can be affected by delivery of the baby, and some women in the postpartum period develop inflammation of the thyroid. The thyroid is a very important gland that regulates many parts of the body.
Is that why many times when a competent psychiatrist is treating a patient that is postpartum after having a baby, that they might run, and I may be wrong saying it, but a thyroid test?
They would do most commonly two different kinds of thyroid tests. They would test for thyroid stimulating hormone, which goes up when the thyroid hormones that also can be tested for actually go down. So thyroid stimulating hormone is telling the body, make more thyroid hormone because it's not enough in the circulation.
Did Tufts ever use a blood test at all in her treatment?
No, she did not.
Did Tufts ever check the thyroid levels of Lindsay Clancy at all during her treatment?
No, she did not.
About Gelada, did they test any of those things?
No, Nurse Gelada did not do blood testing either.
Now, you made reference, sir, to postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis. You're familiar with the DSM, what it's referred to.
This is so important.
5TR?
Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. 5, you said TR, that would be right there, meaning second division.
Correct.
And I'm approaching you with this and asking, you see that section there?
Yes.
And what is that section?
The bipolar and related disorder section?
What is bipolar disorder? What does that mean?
Related.
Bipolar is the newer name for what used to be called manic depressive illness. It describes an illness where people's moods go up, which is the manic phase, and then go down, which is the depressed phase. There are different categories of bipolar disorder. Bipolar 1 is the most serious. Bipolar 2 disorder also has similar fluctuations of mood. But in both cases of bipolar disorder, most people spend more time being depressed than they do being manic.
Now, just tell me, what does manic mean? What does that actually mean?
They feel usually euphoric, that they don't have,
They're up?
you're really up.
Okay.
You're extremely optimistic. You might spend a lot of money foolishly, but you wouldn't worry about that because certainly you're going to win the lottery. You can just feel it. So there can be psychotic thoughts along with bipolar mania, unreasonable expectations. Like I said, that you're destined to win the lottery, or in serious cases, you can believe that God is speaking to you and has appointed you to do some special thing in life.
How about excessive cleaning and, let's say, divesting oneself of personal property, cleaning garages, things of that nature?
There was talk in the records of an episode where Miss Clancy and her husband cleaned out the garage, but it was difficult to tell from the records whether or not that represented what we would call a hypomanic
What
episode.
exercise? There's a lot of references to exercise.
There were a lot of references to exercise, and exercise can be a very useful thing.
That's one of the things that a woman postpartum may very well be prescribed to do by a doctor or a nurse practitioner like Gilletta, right?
I believe that nurse practitioner Julie Paul recommended a long run at one point.
So there's nothing wrong with a woman going to, let's say, Kingsbury or whatever it is, or taking her kids to the local gym with a swimming pool and trying to get some exercise in the postpartum stage. That's something you would hold against her.
Good.
No.
Now, how about, are you aware that within a very short period of time after she had baby Callan, that she actually ran a road race?
Yes.
Is that indicative of a person that's kind of ramped up and doing these things you're talking about?
It's unusual to decide to run so soon after delivering a baby. I believe that she ran on the day that she might have delivered her last child, Callan.
That's correct. So during the month of December, in your review of the records, would you agree that her symptoms that she has related to the doctors that were there to help her, they basically increased, did they not?
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
They increased.
Yes.
And are you aware that then she went somewhere voluntarily in December?
Yes.
Where?
She went to the Mass General Emergency Room on, I believe that was in December. She'd gone to the South Shore Emergency Room previously.
And did you, in the record, see that, in fact, she had gone to Women and Infants program in Rhode Island for a day?
Yes.
And are you familiar with that particular establishment? Is that a supposedly helps pregnant women?
Yes, I reviewed those records as well.
And do you know why she was discharged after a day?
The records stated that they thought that she was having complications from medications more than she was suffering from postpartum issues, and therefore was not a good candidate for their program.
And this was after getting there at 8 in the morning and leaving there around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
That's my understanding, yes.
Records indicate, if you read them, that during that period of time, there were little group discussions and coloring sessions and things like that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You know that there are suicide hotlines that people are told to call, right?
Yes.
Especially if a woman is in postpartum and is experiencing these difficulties and is describing the symptomology and on all these medications, that if you feel like you're going to kill yourself, you're supposed to call a telephone number, right?
Well, it wouldn't be the advice I would give, but that was some advice that was given, yes.
And did she call, to your knowledge from reviewing the records, the telephone?
She called the Aspire hotline, I believe, on 2 occasions.
And was she given any help by the Aspire hotline?
I believe the records say that she was told by Aspire that since she did not have a suicide plan, she did not require what's called a higher level of care, meaning an inpatient admission.
So she basically had been to Nurse Gilletta. She had contacted Aspire on 2 occasions. She went to Rhode Island Hospital on a recommendation the day after she was recommended to go there, and left after not being accepted. After calling the suicide hotlines, things got to the point where she and her husband went to an emergency room. Is that right?
Yes.
And did she get treatment at the emergency room?
I believe the first time that she went to the Mass General Emergency Room, they recommended that she consider an admission at McLean, but she and her husband decided that they did not want her to go inpatient at that time.
Elena said, my mom cleaned my kitchen from top to bottom 6 hours before she had to be taken away to be sectioned. I think that's sort of I'm sorry that happened, by the way, Elena. It's awful. And Miss K said, what I thought was crazy, it's known Zulresso, side effects can be sedation and suicidal thoughts, may worsen depression or increase suicidal tendencies. Behavioral changes must be monitored. Yeah, but that's Tufts just wanting to experiment on a human being, it feels like to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
How about the next time she went to the emergency room?
The next time she went to the emergency room, which was not very long after, she was admitted to McLean.
McLean Hospital. And that would be the locked wards for a period of about 4 days, correct?
Yes.
In reference to the bipolar disorder that we touched upon, sir, is that something that's a consideration when you're treating as a psychiatrist, a woman who's coming to you for help and expressing concerns about these symptoms that we've talked about?
Yes.
Why?
Well, some people with bipolar disorder, especially given the fact that depression is a prominent symptom in bipolar disorder, become suicidal. and can even commit suicide. So that's a very serious possibility that has to be considered.
Did any of the nurse practitioners consider that as a possible diagnosis?
The records indicate that Ms. Clancy was frequently asked if she had a plan to kill herself, even after she reported having what was called passive suicidal ideation. But it was reported very, very frequently in the records.
And in reference to her treatment with nurse practitioner Gelada, did, to your knowledge, nurse practitioner Gelada consider as a secondary diagnosis or a working diagnosis the possibility of bipolar disorder?
Yes.
Was anything followed through on that?
Yeah.
I believe she discussed the possibility of a mood stabilizer, but I believe that she then ended up using Seroquel or quetiapine, which is a...
That's Seroquel and quetiapine with a Q, right?
I'm sorry?
Seroquel and quetiapine with a Q.
Quetiapine with a Q, yes.
Using the two words again. I just want to make sure it's clear.
Seroquel is the brand name. Quetiapine is the generic name.
All right. And did she, meaning Lindsay, to your knowledge in the medical records dealing with these providers, complain about the effect that Seroquel had on her?
Yes.
And what did she say? What were the symptoms, or what did she feel?
Well, she often felt spacey, as if she was not her normal self. She felt, it's fairly commonly reported that she felt hungover in the morning because these medicines, that particular medicine does make people somewhat sleepy. I believe the beginning doses were described as a sleeping dose, which is a very low dose of the medication that does in fact help sleep to some extent.
Was the Seroquel ultimately increased to 400 milligrams a day, 200 milligrams a day? Recall that?
Yes, it started at 25 and
It was bumped up pretty significantly, wasn't it?
Wow.
yes, 400 is a lot more than 25.
And she was complaining about the effect of the Seroquel. Is that correct?
She was.
And she was complaining about the fact that she couldn't sleep. All those symptoms that we went through continued on through the month of December. After McLean, she went there for the New Year's period. I know, I'm almost there. She went to the McLean for treatment and still complained of these symptoms. Is that correct?
What he just did.
Yes.
Did the symptoms ever resolve themselves?
The prosecution was going to object, and he basically was like, "Let me finish."
McLean, she went there for the New Year's period. I know, I'm almost there. She went to the McLean for treatment and still complained of these symptoms. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did the symptoms ever resolve themselves for Lindsay in January, if you know?
There were times when she appeared to be a little less distressed, but the symptoms were never completely resolved, no.
And did you know that she went to see Dr. Jennifer Tufts on January 9th and that she was prescribed diazepam?
Yes.
And then on the 12th, she was prescribed trazodone, 150 milligrams by Dr. Tufts.
Yes.
January 16th, 2 milligrams of diazepam by Dr. Tufts. January 16th, the same day, 10 milligrams of amitriptyline by Dr. Tufts.
Yes.
What is amitriptyline?
Amitriptyline is one of the older types of antidepressants. It's what's called a tricyclic antidepressant. It has more side effects, but one of the useful side effects in some cases is that it makes people sleepy.
Did it help her sleep?
Not really.
Now, in reference to the DSM, out of that
So important
revision, you agree with me that they have DSM 1, DSM 2, revised, rebooted, reconsidered, DSM 3, all the way up to DSM 5, tax revision, right?
Correct.
And consisting of over 1,000 pages, right?
Yes.
Is this like considered, some people say, the Bible of psychiatry, or is it like a cookbook?
I would call it a dictionary. It's a list of definitions.
If I look under P in this dictionary, would it contain anything about postpartum psychosis for a woman?
There is one mention on page 148.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow.
The rest of the world, they don't care about the DSM. They have some other
Yes.
information, right? What is that called?
The World Health Organization publishes something called the International Classification of Disease, which is now in its 11th edition. It lists postpartum psychosis as a separate entity. And that's the one that insurance companies use for billing purposes.
Right, not this.
Correct.
Exactly.
Are you familiar, sir, with the way other countries treat pregnant women in postpartum condition when they see let me finish. When they see a doctor for medical treatment?
Oh, he said, "Let me finish." He's like, "You didn't even let me get the question out. I'm not even going to wait for the judge. I own this courtroom."
It's for billing purposes.
Right, not this.
Correct.
Are you familiar, sir, with the way other countries treat pregnant women in postpartum condition when they see let me finish. When they see a doctor for medical treatment? Yes or no?
Objection.
All right, just allow that question, then we'll
Yes.
And how does that differ from the United States of America?
sustain.
God, he's
Come on.
so obnoxious.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
You spent some time when you first got to the stand going over your qualifications, and I think counsel now has admitted your curriculum vitae into evidence, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last one.
Your curriculum vitae
Yes.
is you went through that with counsel. You recall that?
Yes.
And fair to say, the majority of the entries and your experience and your presentations and your teaching and fellowships, most of which revolve around child and adolescent psychiatry, correct?
I wouldn't say the majority.
Well, where in your CV does it say that you worked with postpartum women?
It doesn't say that specifically.
Okay, so your testimony is that back in 1983, when you were at the Massachusetts, mental health center, you worked with postpartum women, is that correct?
There were patients who had either were pregnant while they were there or delivered and were hospitalized after that, yes.
Okay. And your involvement in this case with defense counsel, wasn't directly that he reached out to you, was it? It was that you had provided some information as it pertains to a civil lawsuit that's pending.
That's correct.
And so this affidavit that counsel's been referring to that you drafted, you revised it for these proceedings, but fair to say you went through a series of records that didn't include anything related to this criminal case, meaning no police reports, interviews, photos from the scene. Is that fair to say?
No police reports, no photos from the scene.
So the majority of what you reviewed pertained to medical records, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And in fact, you cite to in your affidavit a New Yorker article for facts.
Yes.
That's where you got most of your facts, is from a New Yorker article.
No.
No, I also spoke to Mr. Clancy.
You spoke to Mr. Clancy?
Yes.
Is that in your affidavit? Well, you have it before you. Can you point to a paragraph where you indicate that you got a report directly from Mr. Clancy?
I don't know if it's in the affidavit,
So you need to say
but I did interview Mr. Clancy
that's
for
fine.
90 to 100 minutes.
Whoa.
Now, in relation to kind of going through the medical treatment, you indicate that the defendant reported that she was hesitant about taking medications. Do you recall that in paragraph 11?
Yes.
But you're aware that she sought out a psychiatrist, not a therapist, not a psychotherapist or a psychologist. She sought a psychiatrist as her first contact in the postpartum period, correct?
Correct.
And psychiatrists presumably prescribe medications and don't necessarily offer psychotherapy, do they?
Well, all psychiatrists are trained to do psychotherapy to some extent, at least. But yes, they can also prescribe medication.
And through the records, you learned that the defendant did have reactions to low dose of Zoloft. And your testimony is that a blood test would have helped. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
So a blood test that's about 4 or 5 months postpartum, how is that going to help prescribers?
Well, the blood test I was thinking of was you could do a level of the antidepressant in her blood, and that would tell you whether it was average, expected,
really
given the
want to
dose,
ask this
or too high or too low.
And that would yield results if a person's only been taking medication for less than a week?
Yes.
But you indicate that over a period of 4 to 6 weeks is when you would expect to see a medication start to take effect, correct?
It sometimes takes that long, yes.
Now, you also spoke a little bit about Zulresso. You're aware from reviewing the records of Jennifer Tufts that she researched Zulresso and spoke about Zulresso, but never made a recommendation to the defendant that she do that injection.
She wanted
Yes.
to experiment.
You also described that by November 21st, that the defendant was experiencing suggesting symptoms of mania, like racing thoughts. But in fact, the criteria is not just racing thoughts, it's racing thoughts, pressured speech, correct?
There are a number of criteria that are listed, but racing thoughts is one of them, yes.
Okay.
And
you also list, or you identify in your affidavit, extreme insomnia. But for mania, it's not just insomnia, it's that there's insomnia with a decreased need for sleep, correct?
it can be decreased feeling that you need to sleep even if you didn't sleep for several days. But it's also true that some people feel very tired. It's not just one or the other.
You're aware that the defendant denied a decreased need for sleep around that time period in November from the records, aren't you?
In that period, yes.
You also indicated that in reviewing records pertaining to, I think you noted Jennifer Tufts, that her notes were a series of the record was a series of check boxes, right? That was your testimony?
There are a few sentences, but they're mostly check boxes, yes.
And fair to say, the way in which those notes are created, there are several areas in which notes are placed at different points in those records.
There are notes at certain places, yes.
And those notes are reflective of statements that the defendant was making about her mood and how she was feeling and symptoms, correct?
Yes.
Those are all important things for a treating psychiatrist to consider when they're considering a patient's overall presentation. Is that fair to say?
Yes, fair to say.
Now, you also reference in your affidavit that...
Why does she think that that question helped her? We all know that Tufts chose from the drop-down menu and she put very little notes on the file. I feel like I could prosecute this case better.
The defendant had reported that she had these increased symptoms with Zoloft and didn't sleep for 48 hours after increasing the dose. Remember that in the record?
Yes, from 25 to 50.
And you didn't review any police reports to identify that there were only 7 pills missing from that bottle of sertraline.
Oh,
did you?
There we go again.
I did not review a police report, no.
So if a person takes 7 pills over 1 week period at 25 milligrams, how do they increase the dose without more pills missing from the bottle?
Here we go again.
Well, I believe if you took 3 or 4 pills for a few days of 25, then you still would have enough pills to take 2 25s and increase the dose to 50.
Right, but if a prescription reads that if 30 are filled and only 7 are missing from the pill bottle when it's located months later, then if you've taken 7 pills, you've taken 1 pill each day, correct?
Not necessarily. I believe that she stopped taking the medication rather quickly. And I'm not sure which pill bottle you're discussing because, as you said, I didn't review a police report.
Okay. Now, you're aware that on December 15th, that the defendant and her husband reported that she was having persistent intrusive thoughts that day, correct?
Yes.
And that's the day she first presented to Mass General Hospital.
Yes.
And you're aware that Mass General Hospital is directly affiliated with McLean Hospital, right?
They are affiliated. Yes.
And that she was advised to go to the inpatient program, and she chose not to go.
Yes.
From reviewing the records, did you see how Letitia Dukes, a social worker, or a mental health worker, from the South Shore Perinatal Behavioral Health Clinic, had previously had discussions with the defendant about going to women and infants before her presentation to the Mass General ER on December 15th?
Yes.
And she didn't, in fact, go to that program until December 20th. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Now, you also mentioned in your review of the medications, lamotrigine. You recall that?
Yes.
And that was a medication that was prescribed to the defendant in December of 2022, correct?
Correct.
You're aware that she never took lamotrigine.
I believe that's what she said. Yes.
He agrees with her.
Now, you also were asked, or you spoke about Seroquel. So you're familiar with the prescription or what was prescribed of the Seroquel over the period of time from November 30th through early December, correct? You
Yes.
reviewed that. And so I think you testified on direct examination that the initial dose was a low dose, 25 milligrams.
Correct.
And you're familiar, that is a fairly common dosage, a low dose to prescribe to address some sleep issues.
It is. Yes.
And you're aware that for people who are suspected or have bipolar disorder, that the levels of prescribed are generally much higher than 25 milligrams, right?
Yes, they would be.
They could range anywhere from 100 milligrams to up to, what is the range, if you know?
It would go up to 800 milligrams.
And so in this circumstance, you're aware that Rebecca Delata had suspicions about bipolar disorder, right?
She mentions it as a distinct possibility. Yes.
And without relief, she recommends titrating or going up on the Seroquel over a period of time, right?
Yes.
And you settled on a number of 400, but you know from the records that that was the goal, to titrate up to 400 milligrams. Do you know if the defendant ever took 400 milligrams?
I do not.
And you're also aware that once the defendant started reporting having symptoms and concerns about the Seroquel, that she had requested to taper off the Seroquel, correct?
Yes.
And you're aware that prior to her presentation at McLean Hospital, that Rebecca Gelata actually did send in a prescription that would allow for her to taper down.
Yes.
And when the defendant was admitted to McLean Hospital on January 1st, she was already on a taper plan, meaning she had gone back down to approximately 100 milligrams per night.
I believe she was. Yes.
And then at McLean, they further.
So you just asked him. She just asked him if he knows whether she took 400 milligrams or not. And he says no. But she's now saying she was tapering down to 100 milligrams, which means she got up to at least 200. Or, I mean, maybe it doesn't mean that, but she probably got to 200, maybe to 400. That's what she was prescribed. So she's literally just trying to catch him and act like he doesn't know what he's talking about, but she's contradicting herself in her questions. It's ludicrous to me.
Further, immediately started to reduce the dosage with each night.
I believe that was the plan at McLean. Yes.
So the first night she was there, she went down to 75 milligrams, correct?
I believe that's correct. Yes.
And then by the time she was discharged, she was at 0.
Yes. And they were talking about the amitriptyline.
Well, did she leave McLean Hospital with a prescription for amitriptyline?
I don't know if she left with a prescription, but it was discussed in the records that they recommended that.
And as of January 12th of 2023, you're aware that the only active prescriptions for the defendant were for amitriptyline, right?
So
Yes.
there you go.
And
You answered your own
Valium
question.
as needed and trazodone.
So basically,
That sounds
she's
correct,
like,
yes.
you don't know if she was prescribed. And then your next question she had a prescription for amitriptyline. What are they like? Does she not understand that she's just contradicting herself in her own questions? Ms. Carrie Baby, I'm 20 minutes behind catching up. Heart your face, Mel. Heart yours. Thanks for being here. And you guys, if you're here, there's 221 of you here. Go like the video, please. And if you feel so inclined, send us over a tip to either Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. They're all listed at the top of the screen and pinned in the comments. We're just hitting the 2-hour mark. After this, we're going to have Laposata's testimony, and that's how we're going to wrap it up. But we're probably going to be here for another hour. So please don't forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe. We're getting so close to 11,000 subscribers. And I really appreciate y'all. And I really appreciate Lindsay for bringing me coffee. I've been nice. We're out of Starbucks. I already ordered some. Oh, I love you. Thank you. You're the best. Coffee keeps me going. You guys keep me going. Okay. Back to it.
So throughout the course of your review of the records and all of the different medications that she was on from October through January, she wasn't on all the medications at the same time, correct?
How many times are they going to ask this of a witness? And how many times is the witness going to say, no, we have established it. It doesn't mean anything.
But not at the same time.
And it's fair to say she was only on maybe 3 medications at one time.
3, there might have been 4 at one point, but yes.
And she had expressed particular medications that she wished to return to, like Ativan at some point, correct?
She was quite ambivalent about Ativan and talked a great deal in the records about being worried that she was addicted to it.
But Ativan tended to work for her, correct?
It made her feel less anxious. Yes.
And she actually described that at certain points to the providers that when she felt intrusive thoughts or she had a bad experience, that she took the Ativan and the thoughts were gone. Didn't she not?
I'm not sure that she said the intrusive thoughts were gone, but she would feel less anxious when she took it.
And as far as your conversations about hallucinations and auditory hallucinations, you indicated that at some point, or at points, I think was your testimony, that the defendant did hear a voice. But you're aware that she never reported to Jennifer Tufts that she heard a voice.
She did not.
She never reported to Rebecca Gelada that she heard a voice, did she?
She did not.
She never reported to Letitia Dukes that she heard a voice.
She did not.
And the only time she's ever said that she heard this voice was on January 24th of 2023. Is that fair to say?
The recross or the redirect of this.
Thank you.
Witness.
So when the district attorney asked you whether or not Lindsay, after all the symptoms that we've already gone through, told Rebecca Gelada that she heard a voice, told Dr. Tufts that she heard a voice, and denied that she heard a voice, would you agree that there were reasons that a woman would not tell the doctor or minimize their symptoms out of fear?
Yes.
What kind of fear? Fear of what?
Well, in the records, it stated that Ms. Clancy reported she was worried that her children would be taken away from her.
There you go.
Perhaps by the Department of Children and Families.
I've been saying
if she
it for
reported
2
very
weeks.
severe symptoms. The other thing is, as a healthcare professional, boards of registration sometimes take a dim view of people who have been in treatment for certain psychiatric illnesses. Yeah. And so she might have been concerned about her nursing license, but that's speculation.
So
I have been saying for 2 weeks, she was worried about losing her nursing license, losing her job, possibly even losing her children. Some people said I was being dumb, or those aren't the words. I'm paraphrasing, but it's a real fear. It's why you don't talk about these things. It's why society teaches us not to openly talk about these things, especially with a mandated reporter like a cognitive behavioral health therapist. Oh my God, a yawn. A yawn just got me. You don't talk about with your therapist. You don't talk about with your psychiatrist, because if you do, you know that if you tell them you're hearing voices, they are going to report that, and you could lose your job. You could lose your kids. And yes, Lady Harlot, I know exactly what my coffee levels are, and I order accordingly, or somebody from my Amazon wish list sends me my Starbucks French roast K-cups, and I appreciate it very much. It's on the way. It's coming today. Volunteer Stitcher says, I'd love Lindsay to bring me some coffee too. She's very sweet. I got a good one. You know what I'm saying? Brianna, my phone got stolen on my way to work this morning. I'm so sorry. I hope that they're not able to unlock it. It's almost like this is real fear, and these issues can cause paranoia and have consequences. Absolutely. I agree with you, Lady Harlot. Yep, here it is. Teacup. I know of a nurse who recently lost her job when they found out she had PPD and an unalive attempt a few years ago. Yeah, because they're worried about her being around patients. I'm not saying, I feel sorry for that person, for the nurse that you know, but it's understandable. I get it. And Lindsay was, they were having financial stress. She was worried about not having, 2-person income, and also just the embarrassment of, and all the work that she put into getting her nursing license. Like, that could all be stripped away, not to mention her kids could be taken from her. Come on. This is so, everyone in the jury will understand this. Oh, I'm so sorry that happened, Brianna. That's the worst feeling. I always worry. One time, I don't know if you guys know what zip cars are, but in Boston, I think that's where the zip cars, that doesn't matter. Zip cars in Boston are like cars you rent by the hour just to get around town. And I remember my car was in the shop and I needed a zip car because I was doing a bunch of errands and blah, blah, blah. And I had gone to this really important meeting. And so I had my bag, my laptop bag, my everything. And I dropped the zip car off and I locked it up and I went back to my house and realized as soon as I got to my house that my laptop was in the back seat and that there was a new driver. And luckily I was able to like go meet up with the driver and get my laptop. But that moment of like, it was terrifying knowing like all my work was on that laptop. Everything I owned, like not owned, everything I had created, like everything was on that laptop and I was terrified. Luckily, I got it back. I'm very sorry that your phone was stolen. I hope everything is backed up. I hope your day gets better. We love you and support you, and we're glad you're here. Guy on a bike grabbed it. Ugh, what an asshole. What is wrong with people? I don't understand. This is so interesting, Miss K. We had to bring in a nurses program just to treat nurses because they were scared to access help. It's an ongoing program where they seek treatment without losing their jobs. I love that. And I think that we all need that in every state.
There are other reasons why a person may be concerned about telling healthcare providers, mandated reporters, that they're hearing voices, correct?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that you don't have to see the proverbial unicorn in the corner to your health provider to be suffering from psychosis?
Yes, that's true.
And can you tell us, Council was asking about the symptomology, psychosis, is that something that just grinds on for day after week after month, or is that something that comes on out of nowhere very quickly?
I don't know.
No, overall.
It can be quite episodic.
What does that mean?
It means that an episode can start and stop, and then an interval of time goes by. It could be days, weeks, or months, and then another episode occurs.
Council asked you about bipolar disorder, the suspicions of bipolar disorder from Dr. Gelada, and then talked about the prescriptions that were prescribed. Is it, in your opinion, appropriate to prescribe a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor to a person that is bipolar?
Overall.
It would
Overruled. Sit down.
be considered something to be done cautiously and usually with a mood stabilizer begun at the same time to prevent the possibility of making manic symptoms worse.
Thank you, sir.
So just briefly, you didn't interview the defendant, did you?
I did not.
You don't know what she was concerned about. You're speculating.
Yes.
It's in the
And
record.
for a person who's begging for help,
Your
it's important to be
experts
honest
put
with
it in the
providers about
record.
what you're feeling, seeing, and hearing.
It should be, but that's not always what doctors find.
Nothing further.
Anything further? Thank you,
Hold on,
Doctor.
let me
Sit down.
back
Thank you.
up. I was
The providers
talking
about
over
what
her.
Yes.
And for a person who's begging for help, would it be important to be honest with the providers about what you're feeling, seeing, and hearing?
It should be, but that's not always what doctors find.
Nothing further.
Are you serious, lady?
Anything further? Thank you, Doctor. Please sit down. Thank you.
Okay. They're going to go on a very long lunch break before we have Laposata. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you guys on like a 5-minute break. I'm going to put the trial court up because I have to run to the bathroom because now I've had 3 cups of coffee and a Diet Coke and menopause. So I will be right back. Let's see, what time is it? It's 10:13. Let's say I will be back at 10:18. Okay? Okay. Be right back. I'm going to go look for a unicorn in the corner.
Court is back in session. You may be seated.
All right. Counsel, we all set?
Yes.
All right, ready for the jury?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Easy to have faith in us.
All right, please, Jurors Henry. Court is back in session. You may be seated.
Your Honor, for the purpose of the record, we return back to the trial of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, including the defendant and including the 18 jurors.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Members of the jury, I think we got everything fixed. So thanks for your patience. The next witness that's going to testify is going to be testify either by Zoom or teleconference, as you can see. I just want to tell you, this witness will be under oath, and you can consider her testimony the same as if she was testifying here live. Okay? All right. Mr. Rankin.
Yes, thank you.
May I swear her in?
Yes.
Dr. Laposata, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony and the evidence you shall give to the court and the jury in the matter now pending between the Commonwealth and the defendant at the bar shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I
do. Thank you.
Hate Patrick.
Dr. Nunberg, can you hear me?
You're a little echoey, but I can hear you.
Okay, I'm standing in the corner here so that everybody can hear you. Tell us your name and spell your last name.
Dr. Elizabeth Laposata, Laposata.
And fair to say that you have some issues that require you to speak to us today by Zoom rather than appearing in person as you intended to do. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Tell us what you do for work, Doctor.
She's so cute.
Well, I'm a medical doctor, board certified in anatomic and forensic pathology. So I have an active practice in forensic pathology where I review cases to understand how people get injured or how people die.
And how can you tell us your educational background?
What a job.
Certainly. I graduated from Bucknell University in 1975, cum laude with honors in biology. I went to University of Maryland School of Medicine, where I graduated with an MD degree in 1979. I did my 2 years of internship at Johns Hopkins Hospital in anatomic pathology, which is the study of diseases of the body. Then I trained in St. Louis, Missouri, with a fellowship in forensic pathology, which is understanding causes of death and how trauma affects the body.
When I hear that people do these kind of jobs, I'm like, oh God, what makes you want to go into that? But what I've realized after watching a bunch of trials and investigating cases and doing all the work that I do, these people do this because they want to give answers to the victim's family. They want to be clear about what happened. They want to help cases get justice. And she's been doing this for over 50 years, trying to get answers for people. And so I think of Dr. Laposata as a hero or heroine, I should say. And I just think that it feels so grotesque to me to be able to talk about, death and injuries in a certain way. But at the end of the day, she's doing this because she wants to help people. And I love that. We are going to have to skip through some of this testimony because unfortunately, it's very graphic and it's specifically about the kids. And there's a moment that I'm going to try to show you without being too graphic, that the prosecutor pulls that is such bullshit. So we'll get to it. I'm going to try to prevent y'all from hearing, gruesome details. It's mostly focused on Lindsay and her injuries, which I feel like we can cover, but any of the injuries about the children, I'm going to stay away from. But again, there is one specific moment that is very important. That is another disingenuous moment for the prosecution that we are going to cover. And I will do my best to recap it and just show you bits and pieces of it. But if there's any testimony about the kids, I'm going to move through that. Okay. Okay. Here we go.
Do you hold any board certifications or any licensures in that field?
Yes, in 1983, excuse me, I sat for my board exams and became board certified diplomat of the American Board of Pathology in anatomic and forensic pathology.
And tell us your work history, if you would, please.
Certainly, since I became board certified in 1983, I've had faculty positions in St. Louis University School of Medicine, where I also was the assistant medical examiner for the city of St. Louis. I then moved to Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, where I ran the autopsy service at the hospital at the University of Pennsylvania. Had a faculty appointment there, a research lab, and I taught forensic pathology to medical students. I was also a city of Philadelphia medical examiner. After that, I was a assistant medical examiner for the state of Delaware. And in 1993, I was selected to be chief medical examiner for the state of Rhode Island, which was a position I held until 2005 when I started my independent consulting practice.
So you've been an independent consultant testifying in courts and working on cases since 2005?
At my own business, yes, and certainly testifying on cases before that as medical examiners employed for the city of St. Louis, the city of Philadelphia, and the state of Delaware, and the state of Rhode Island.
Okay, and now you're independent on your own, as it were, correct?
I am, as it were, yes.
Now, did I reach out to you on the case of the Commonwealth versus Lindsay CLANCY and ask if you would help us out by looking at the discovery of the case?
Yes, you did.
And you're here to testify today. Can you tell the jurors what you actually reviewed as a basis of your opinion for your testimony?
Certainly. I reviewed medical records, and I have a list here on Dawson CLANCY. I reviewed the Office of the Medical Examiner entire file. I reviewed his EMS reports, his terminal hospitalization, the Duxbury Police supplemental narrative, Duxbury Police narrative, and his pediatric South Shore healthcare medical records.
Could I just interrupt you for a minute? I apologize.
Sure.
Just in the interest of time, rather than going through every single, let me ask it this way. Did you look at police reports?
Yes.
Did you look at grand jury visits?
Yes.
Did you look at medical records for Lindsay CLANCY?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the jurors what medical records you looked at?
For Dawson CLANCY?
No, for Lindsay. No, not Dawson. For Lindsay CLANCY.
He's trying to stay away.
Oh, yes. I looked at her South Shore medical records when she was admitted on the evening of January 24th. I looked at her Brigham and Women's Hospital records, photographs that were taken of her and published in her hospital records. I looked at the Department of State Police Crime Laboratory toxicology report, crime scene photos of the bedroom, the outside of the house, crime scene photos, approximately 500 of them, grand jury proceedings, and photographs of the round exercise band.
How about medical records? Did you review medical records pertinent to Lindsay and her treatment by healthcare providers in 2022 into 2023?
Yes.
Can you tell us what records you looked at?
I looked at her records from the post-injury records from South Shore.
Okay. We kind of know what she looked at. So they put together the diagrams. These are the diagrams that they were arguing about toward the beginning of the day. So they're passing those out. They've been put in as exhibits. Okay, so where this is talking specifically about Lindsay's injuries. And this diagram that's on the screen is obviously she's saying, that Lindsay fell 13 feet, landed on her head. And we're going to get into that testimony now. Why did you stop?
Yes, thank you. Now, Doctor, first of all, we made reference.
Sorry, my earbuds are being weird. I think I have them in the wrong ear.
To Dawson CLANCY, that you had a chance to review medical records and photographs and autopsy reports on Dawson CLANCY?
Yes, on Dawson, Cora, and Callan.
Okay. You had children? One of the questions that I have is that of the photographs, the autopsy photographs that you were.
I think that it might be just kind of confusing with this. That's right. We can go back. We get back to the charts. We can do that. Okay.
Thank you. The autopsy photographs. Did you have a chance to review those, Doctor?
Yes, I did.
And in your extensive experience, have you had a chance to see autopsy photographs of young?
Okay, we're gonna skip past this. I think that must be Kevin Reddington's son, Patrick.
Aware of that testimony?
Okay, so what he's asking here is because the prosecution has brought this up many times about bruising on the children, and they've intimated that Lindsay abused her children. And what Dr. Laposata is testifying to here is she's saying, no, these are all medical. These all have medical, basically like once they were in the hospital, you know, tubes and IVs and things like that caused a lot of the bruising. Plus, they were just bruising from being like a normal kid getting scrapes and blah, blah, blah. So they're talking specifically about bruising. I don't want to get into it. Yeah, he's basically like, he says, you don't have to get into detail. We've heard it a number of times. Okay, and then we're talking about Lindsay's self-inflicted wounds.
And can you tell the
If that is Kevin Reddington's son, what a hottie. He's so handsome. Look at this guy. Good haircut, sir.
jury, to your opinion, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to the nature of these injuries, and are they consistent with somebody trying, in your opinion, trying to kill themselves?
Sustained.
So you would agree that there's an
Wait a
injury to the
minute.
left wrist, injury to the right wrist, that's a sharp incise wound, is that correct?
Yes, they're cutting type wounds made by a sharp object such as a knife.
Okay. And how about the neck? Did that penetrate the fascia, or did that penetrate the skin? To what degree?
Yes, there were also linear, superficial incised wounds to her neck, and there were several of them, and one or two of them went deeper. There was bleeding also from the wounds on her wrist, and there were numerous attempts at cutting the skin, which we call hesitation marks, which are
There, we've heard that before. The hesitation marks. That means that somebody, we are not in our brains don't want us to do this to ourselves. Our brain tries to stop us from doing this to ourselves.
a classic finding in suicide attempts, and they did those incisions did cut in through the skin and cut blood vessels that were under the skin. And you can also tell from looking at the photos of Lindsay taken in the hospital when she was first admitted, and also when the photograph of her bedroom, you can see there was significant bloodshed event from those cuts.
Oh, Volunteer Stitcher says Bob Mata, from Defense Diaries says that that's Kevin's tech guy. His son was sitting in the row with Lindsay Clancy's parents. That would make sense because they're going over the computer generated diagrams. So that would make sense. But he's still a hottie. He's got a good beard. He's got a good blue suit. I agree with y'all.
Cutting injuries.
No. Did she also sustain an injury to her neck from your review of the medical records?
Yes.
Can you tell us what type of injury, and if we could, and if it assists the jury with you, you can make reference to the pages of the little report and the diagrams, page 4, 5, and 6. And tell us what we're looking at.
Okay, let's see. So are we ready to look at number 4?
Sure. Yeah, start off with 4.
Okay. So
Just so I think that's the first page that you have, so just.
yes, that's right. Yes, page 4 is actually page 1. Yeah, so what we have here is to show you how Lindsay was injured. And I got this from the scene photographs, from all her medical history, and my knowledge and training, understanding how injuries happen to the body. So if we look at the left-hand side of this panel, we see a depiction of the back side of the house, and the top window on the second floor is open. That's where she would have put her palms down on the windowsill and put her head out and precipitated down to fall on the hard frozen ground. During her fall, head first, she had cuts on her wrists, which were bleeding, and her coming head down on the side of that building would then transfer some of that blood onto the side of the building, which was found in the scene photograph. She then hits really head first, and as her body descends that 13 or 14 feet. And if you look at so she really did a free fall dive head first. Then if you look on the right upper 2 diagrams that just show a skull, this illustrates the forces then that were applied to Lindsay's head from hitting the ground.
I just want to inject us for a moment with something superficial. But since we're talking about Patrick Reddington, I thought I would share this with y'all. Apparently he does some thirst traps. He's a hottie too. This is Kevin Reddington's son, K Shred's son, Pat Reddington. Ready?
Woo! The lover. Sexy on the cover. She call me Miss Bombastic, send me fantastic. Touching on my box, she says I'm Mr. Romantic, send me fantastic.
Wicked hot. Look at this guy.
Smooth,
What?
Just like a
Let's see. Let's see him get out of the car and fix his cup.
like a quilt. I'm a lyrical lover. Don't take me pin up with my sexual physique. You know me well. Well, oh me, oh my. Well, can't you tell? I'm just like a turtle crawling out of my shell. Now you captivate my body, put me under a spell. With your couscous perfume, I love your sweet smell. You're the only young girl who can ring my bell, and I will take rejection. You
handsome. This is Kevin's son, Patrick.
Fantastic. When I'm a box, she says I'm Mr. Rowe.
Hold on, this can't be him. Is this really him? I'm seeing this is AI. Is this tell me it's not AI. Come on. Come on, tell me it's not AI, you guys. That just ruins everything. Okay, hold on. This is him. No, that's him. He's so handsome. Look at this guy. Hold on. Look at this guy. This guy right here. This is Patrick, and this is Dad. I love it. Look how handsome he is. Look, he got a little streak of gray. I got that streak of gray. I got it. He got a little bit of a receding hairline, but otherwise, what a hottie. I love it. I love that Kevin Reddington's son is hot. Okay, sorry. Back to this horrific testimony. Jesus.
And this is the fracture that we see with people who hit their head on, like if they've taken a dive into a swimming pool and they hit their head on the bottom. It's a classic finding in people who have energy applied to the falling head. And what it does is that it takes the first cervical vertebrae, which kind of looks like a donut, as you see up there in the middle.
Just to clarify, Joy said, I thought they were trying to intimate that the bruises were from the kids fighting back. That's part of it, but they have also put a bunch of witnesses on the stand. They've asked a bunch of people if they ever saw, including Patrick Clancy's father, if they ever saw Lindsay being abusive to her children. And no one has said that ever.
And it squashes it. The base of the skull then squashes that. And then like a donut, it kind of spreads it out. And she had 6 or 7 fractures of that cervical vertebrae. Number 1, the ring of that. And the fractures I have pointed to there with arrows. So that is called the characteristic Jefferson fracture from hitting your head, the top of your head in a dive first position. So you could also describe it as a bursting type fracture. But you don't get any spinal cord injury from that because the area, the hole in the middle is pretty big. So it just crushes down on the side and fractures the ring around the spinal cord. So that tells me immediately that she landed head first and went down the window, went down head first. Then the energy is transmitted then from her head down her vertebral body, down the bony spine. And that then fractured and compressed C1. The lower right-hand panel there puts that cervical vertebral body in the context of the...
So I'm going to skip through a little bit of this because Laposata is basically telling us what we already know. She's paralyzed. She's paralyzed because she fell on her head out of a window and then dropped 13 feet to the ground. I want to get to the cross on this because the cross is, again... Exactly that. Exactly that. Let's see, Laposata. 519 to 545. Where are we at here? Okay, so this is all.
She had wet clothing on, so wet clothing is going to transmit.
This is where we're going through the hypothermia, which she says it's possible, and also that she fell and landed on hard ground. She was wearing inside clothes. She'd lost a lot of blood because of the injury and the injury to her spine, and she had no shoes on, and she was laying on frozen ground at about 20 to 30 degrees, which is what we looked up and figured out on our own. But thank you, Dr. Laposata, for confirming what the Goog machine said.
The body heat into the atmosphere quicker than dry clothing. It was indoor clothes. She didn't have a big parka on. There was no sun at that time to keep her body temperature up. The ambient or the air temperature was around 30 degrees. She has a thin body. And also, most importantly, because of that thoracic spinal cord transection, she lost the ability to control her body temperature below that level. So that means all her blood vessels just dilate and they just lose.
So basically, from the injury down, her brain and body stopped controlling her body temperature.
Heat to the atmosphere.
Thank you very much, sir.
Can you spread?
This is awful. This is Sprague, not
Dr. Laposata,
Yes.
you were head of the Rhode Island
Here we
Office
go.
of Medical Examiner when it was cited for 10 violations and unsafe conditions.
I'm sure you all will remember this from Hank Brennan's test, direct cross against Laposata. The first thing he did, I believe, is he tried to rip her apart for her violations in Rhode Island, and she handles it in the exact same way. She's so amazing. She's like, yeah, that was back in the 80s or 90s. We had a couple of violations because lights were out. I'm glad they came by. Just listen, this is, I know that the attorney thinks that she's got her. She's got Laposata. She's got her in her crosshairs. But
Conditions, correct?
Yes, the unsafe condition was a light bulb out in a hallway, a computer in a hallway, and a few other minor things. I was very happy to have the safety inspection.
Right, those were the unsafe conditions, but there are also 10 other violations, correct?
They were minimal. I don't recall them. It was 20 years ago.
You didn't treat Ms. Clancy, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't examine her yourself, correct?
Correct.
Now, you talked about a Jefferson fracture and or a C1 burst fracture and how it can be from hitting the top of your head, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that you can sustain a burst fracture by hitting the back of your head or the top of your shoulders as well?
No.
You say that she fell from 13 feet from the windowsill onto her head, the top of her head, correct? Onto the frozen ground?
Yes.
And you're saying that she fell with such force that she burst her C1 vertebrae and then broke other vertebrae in her back and broke ribs, correct?
Yes, just the force of a free-falling body. Yes.
Okay. But
D. Cools, you are absolutely correct. This woman, Dr. Laposata, is an expert on Hosselong to dying cold.
she had no injuries to her head, correct?
I'm sure she had bruising to her scalp under her hair.
You're sure?
She did not. She did not have a skull fracture.
Right. She didn't have a skull fracture, correct?
Sure.
Yes.
She didn't have any cuts or things that needed sutures, correct?
She needed sutures in the cutting wounds on her wrist.
Well, we're talking about her head right now. She didn't need any sutures on her head, correct?
Correct.
She didn't have any large dents in her head, correct?
I don't know.
Large dents? What do you mean?
From hitting the frozen ground head first, there were no dents or bumps or
Ready.
sutures required on her head, correct?
Her scalp was intact. The forces were transmitted to C1.
So through her head.
A very common finding when you go head first and hit your head.
So hitting the frozen ground, the icy frozen ground, not a bump or scratch or scrape on her top of her head. And then within her head, there was no brain bleed. There was no hemorrhaging. There was no injury into her brain itself. Nothing showed up on the CT scans, correct?
Right. Her brain was fine. Her skull was fine. I'm sure she probably had some scalp bruising under her hair.
You're sure because that goes along with what you're guessing at how the fall happened, correct? You can't be sure because you didn't see the head, correct? You say you're sure, but you didn't see her head.
I saw the medical records and I examined all of those.
Yes.
I'm sure she had some bruise on the top of her head to the backside, as I showed in my diagram number 4. I'm sure there was some bruising on her scalp under her hair, but that was not a major concern at the time she was taken into the hospital.
You keep saying you're sure there were bruises, that you're sure that there was this or that that's not shown in any photographs or medical evidence. So you're not sure, are you? You're assuming.
No, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Let me show you some photographs here.
No,
Let me show you. I'm asking the questions. Let me show you some
Oh,
photographs.
go ahead.
Let me show you some photographs of the defendant that were taken at the hospital.
Do not talk to Laposata that way. Don't talk to her that way. I'll fight for Laposata. I will. I'll throw hands. I'll take my earbuds out, earrings, and I will fight for Dr. Laposata. Just keep yourself to yourself, lady.
Of her head. Show me. Do we have sharing privileges on the computer?
This is not going to prove anything. You guys are so dumb. You're so friggin' dumb.
Showing you here, photo of the top of the defendant's head. No.
Yes, I see that.
She is paralyzed. How the fuck did she get that injury?
No swelling, correct?
We just see her hair.
There's no blood on the white sheet, correct?
And I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you just asked me.
There's no blood on that very white sheet, correct?
I don't see what's under her head, but that's not relevant to understanding that she did fall head first.
Okay, so you're saying she fell head first from 13 feet onto hard frozen ground and had no visible injuries to the exterior of her head.
Yes.
And you're saying that she...
Excuse me,
It was a yes or no question, doctor.
Listen, hold on. Doctor, listen to the question, answer the question, and then we'll just go from there. Go ahead. Ms. Sprague, if you want to re-ask that question.
Doctor, yes or no, she fell to the ground, frozen ground, and then had no apparent injury to the exterior of her head, correct?
No.
Correct.
And she fell head first to the frozen ground and not with enough force to break several vertebrae in her ribs, but did not have a skull fracture, a brain bleed, or anything else, any other type of injury to her head, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Move to put the photographs, we're just showing into evidence.
Any objection? All right, they may be admitted.
Of the children, correct?
I did.
Okay, we're not going to do this. So she tries, okay, let me try to recap this for you. She basically brings up testimony from another case that Laposata worked on, where a mother also unalived her children. The debate here about this testimony is that the case that they bring up and present to Laposata, and then they read back her testimony to her. I won't get into the details of the testimony, but what you need to know is that the case that they're referencing was a manual strangulation case, and this case is a ligature strangulation case. And that obviously means manual is with your hands, ligature means you use something. And in this case, it was the exercise bands. And Sprague tries so hard to get her to stick to the testimony in the other trial, and Laposata is like, these are two totally different situations with two totally different injuries and two very different ways of stopping oxygen to the brain, basically. And the important part about this is that the prosecution, as their very first witness in this case, brought up Patrick Clancy to the stand, and they had him detail in gruesome detail how he found his children and what he did in the moments that he found his children. And one of the things that he said, I'm going to try not to get into too much detail. He described untying a knot that looked like if you tried to tie your shoelaces, but you didn't make the bow. I think we can all picture that in our heads, with round, hollow rubber exercise bands. So this woman is, again, this is just a situation where it seems to me like they are just trying to win because they're not even paying attention to their own testimony, their own witness's testimony. She is trying to convince Laposata that her other testimony in the manual strangulation case, sorry, I just got a text. She says that it takes much longer it takes a certain amount of time, but in this case, it took much longer to do the damage that Lindsay did, and that she did it with, basically they're inferring that she did it with malice, she did it with forethought, she watched the suffering, all that stuff. And Laposata is like, no, what are you talking about? No, this is like, I can tell by the injuries that the ligature was doing this very certain thing. So I want to skip ahead to this ridiculous moment. Let's see if I can find it. And of course, Lindsay is responding to this ridiculousness.
Probably less than.
Okay, and then Reddington, he gets up. He's very angry, as he should be, and because he doesn't want to have to like detail this again. But basically, he gets up and he has her explain in depth the difference between ligature and manual strangulation, and how the arteries on the side of the neck, yada yada. So we're not going to listen to any of this because it has to do with the kids. Talking about compression, and then he does make a really good point. And those of you who are true crime fans will know what he's talking about, because he says, in reference to manual strangulation, where generally somebody would use their hands and perhaps press with their thumbs, that has a very specific outcome where the hyoid bone could be broken. And we all know, we've all heard this reference before in strangulation cases, that often the hyoid bone is broken. And she says, yes, that can happen. Absolutely. The U-shaped bone underneath the jaw, the hyoid. Yes, absolutely. So, all right. So we have to go through all this. The prosecution wants to press it even further. And then she does this, because she just keeps going back and continuing to do this. And so while Laposata is talking, Sprague goes up and she gets an evidence bag. And she puts the gloves on real quick. She's like shaking. She thinks she's got her Perry Mason moment. This is what she
wrapped around the child's neck several times and then left there. I guess you can't see it from where you are, but it just fell apart. It didn't stay in a circle.
Yeah, I sort of saw what you did, so.
I sort of saw what you did. So, she said, because you know why she's saying so? Because it's from their own witness testimony that the ligature was tied in at least one knot. So again, it's the prosecution not thinking about the case, just trying to win, in my opinion.
What was that?
I said, I saw that.
You saw it. So it was left there and it fell apart, correct?
Yeah, what you just did, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
She said, yeah, what you just did, sure. And then the prosecutor says, yeah, thank you. Meaning, I got my point made. She didn't, though. That's the worst part for her. She doesn't even understand that she failed miserably because the jury is going to definitely look at Patrick Clancy's testimony, which says there was a knot, at least one knot, tied in a way like you would your shoelaces, and you stop before you make the bow. It's so cringy. It's so weird. Like they're just, God, they're the friggin' worst. I can't with these people. Anyway, so that was the easiest way for me to describe to you what they were talking about. But we're just about through with, I know, somebody should tell her that Perry Mason was a defense attorney. Really good point, Equals. Scream Queen said, this is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen with my eyes. Volunteer Stitcher says, do you remember this random case from 2011, doctor? Ma'am, it is 2026. Thank you. So smug that she doesn't realize that she fucked up. That's the sad thing about this. They are literally just trying to win. They are not trying this case. That's the scary part to me.
All right. Thank you, doctor.
Okay. Go on a short break, and we come back with finally Dr. Zeizel. Dr. Zeizel. I've been waiting for this testimony, and today, in testimony day 16, what we're not watching right now, the cross of Zeizel happens, and I am like, woo, I can't wait. I can't wait for him to school them. He's a very sweet, kind man. I think you'll like Dr. Zeizel if you haven't ever seen him before. Let's get him on the stand. This is the guy. Hey guys, there's 234 of you here. Please go like the video. Please go like the video. It helps us with our algorithm and stuff. And Joe, I just got your message on Facebook about the first responder showing how Patrick removed the band. I can't show it here. I appreciate you sending it to me. I'm definitely going to go watch it. But if anybody wants to go watch, it's out there. There's a video out there. I don't think you need to. I think we understand from his testimony, but I'm interested. I will watch it, as much as I hate watching stuff about these kids. But anyway, little housekeeping break. Please go like the video. Please subscribe. Please share. I think we're like 50 subs away from 11,000. I would love to get there. I'd love to get there this week. That would be amazing. Also, if you're not a member, please become a member. The lowest tier is $2.99, and you can come to our crossroads and have a good time with us. And also, if you feel so inclined and you are able to, please send a tip our way. You can do Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. All of the links, all of the Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal at the top of the screen. They're pinned in the chat, and there's a QR code on the screen. The tips keep us moving. They help us out. And whoever sends a tip, I read it out loud, hopefully in the moment. If not, I do it the next day. And I do that unless you tell me not to right off the top, because I'll just start reading, and then I'll be like, oh, shit, they said not to do it. Lady Harlot says, I've got to jump soon to say goodbye to one of my favorite people before I move away. But thank you for everything you do, Mel. Where are you moving, Lady Harlot? You're moving away. Moving away from what and where and why? You don't have to tell us all that. I'm just curious. All right, let's get into Zeizel.
Spell your last name for the record, please.
Good afternoon. Paul Zeizel, Zeizel.
And what do you do for work, sir?
I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist.
And briefly, what's the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist?
A psychiatrist goes to 4 years of medical school and does a residency in a specific field in medicine. A psychologist goes to graduate school, generally 4 years, and gets a PhD or a PsyD, Doctor of Psychology, in psychology. The difference in terms of clinical practice, psychologists are trained very extensively in counseling, testing, interpretation of testing, and that then continues to various treatment modalities, working with children, adolescents, couples, families, and it can extend beyond that. Neuropsych testing, issues of guardianship, child custody cases, and there are many variants in that. So psychologists are in the domain of treatment, testing, and evaluation of mental health conditions.
Can psychologists prescribe medication?
Generally, no, but the Department of Defense will allow psychologists in the military and overseas to sometimes prescribe medication, but 99% of psychologists do not have prescription privileges.
As far as the testing that you referenced, what is it you were referring to regarding testing?
So this testing across various domains. If a person comes in with, let's say, concerns about...
Lady Harlot, that is so good of you. And I know you mentioned the other day, the distance between you and your sister was really difficult. So I'm glad that you're shipping up to Boston. If you need any recommendations, I don't know if you're from Boston or you've lived there before, but if you need any recs, Rebecca and I can hook you up. And I hope that you have a safe trip next month. Please be safe. Enjoy the drive. It's a beautiful one. I've made it several times from the West Coast to the East Coast. And I love that you're going to be with your sister. That makes me happy.
Intellectual functioning for a child, they would have a perhaps school psychologist or educational psychologist who do testing on cognitive levels of functioning, or neuropsych testing, or testing that deals with issues of ADD, attention deficit disorder, or ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. There's other testing that would include, for example, forensic testing. That's the integration of mental health and the law. That requires a psychologist to know about the different types of forensic testing issues that might be there. So this would often be things that would be pertaining to deception, malingering, personality assessment, and sometimes sociopathy, or what's known in the DSM-5-TR, which you've heard about, antisocial personality disorder. In addition, as I briefly mentioned, guardianship, conservatorship, custody issues with parenting, risk assessments for certain jobs that individuals might have, working for government and top secret positions, police officers, military as well.
So, for example, some of the testing, what is the MMPI?
So, yes, it's called the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, and there are various iterations. There's MMPI 3, there's the RF. Some are focused on forensic assessment. It is a test that is been around since the 1940s, that was originally used to determine a sample the size of white men going into the military who would be good leaders. Today, the sample is based on a much more diversified population, including women and different racial ethnicities, and it's divided into two parts. One part has what we call a validity and reliability scale and a lie scale.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to pause here. Lady Harlot, I used to live in Somerville, and on the Cambridge line, there is a Floyd's barber shop. It was my barber shop, and there is one specific barber there. Her name is Jessica. I hope she's still there for your sake. Tell her that I love her and I miss her, and my hair is not the same since she put her hands in it. If you find her, please tell her I said hello. She is one of the most amazing people. But Jessica, Floyd's Barbershop on Mass Ave, just past Porter Square. So not far from, it's like a 10-minute drive from like Somerville, Cambridge line. Okay, there's my recommendation. There you go.
Validity.
The lie scale, is that also referred to as the K scale?
Yes, it could be considered part of the K scale, and it's whether someone is being dishonest with the test, but it will change slightly because people on some tests, psychological tests, will want to come across as faking good. Some people will want to come across as faking bad. Faking good would be a mother whose children were taken away. She would like to get them back, so she wants to come across as the healthiest person there is. Conversely, faking bad is someone seeking a, let's say, a workman's compensation claim, and they may have a tendency to exaggerate the nature of their injuries.
So in this case, for example, forget about workman's comp. Let's talk about a murder charge. If a defendant submits to a psychological test, such as the MMPI and the interpretation by a psychologist,
hope she's still there,
of the
Lady
results of
Harlot.
that test,
She's
if
amazing.
the person wanted to pretend that they were suffering from a disease or defect, would that test ostensibly be able to tell the psychologist that?
Yes.
Was it MMPI administered by the government's doctors on this case for Lindsay?
Yes.
Did that have a case scale as to whether or not she was lying or exaggerating, malingering, or trying to fake that she had some disease or defect?
Yes, and had a case scan.
What were the results of the government's doctor's test on the Minnesota Multiple Personality as it relates to the case scale?
Yeah, can I see counsel over here?
Okay. I just wanted to pause again because Luna, you're very, very, very lovely. Thank you so much for the, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Why is my internet being weird? Is my internet being weird to you guys? Ah, there we go. Luna, thanks for the $25 tip. You're amazing. Luna says you're a gem and I appreciate everything you do. Love you so much. Keep it up. Love you back, girl. Thank you so much for the tip. Really appreciate it. I can slow it down a notch. Sure thing. Yeah, he's talking real fast. Let's go down to 1.5. Maybe we'll even go a little bit. There we go. And we got a sidebar.
Interpretation of that administered by, just as we lead you a little bit. Yes or no answers would be fine. Were you aware that a test was administered by the government's doctor, I think it was Dr. Helbrin, to Lindsay Clancy in the course of the government's evaluation?
Yes.
And did you consider the results of and the interpretation of that test as part of your opinion for this jury?
Yes.
And to that extent, as you discuss whether or not somebody is faking or somebody is exaggerating, do you have an opinion based upon your review of the discovery in the case to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to whether or not Lindsay Clancy, in the course of that evaluation, was malingering or lying or exaggerating?
Yes, I do.
Tell the jury.
Big point.
My opinion in the testing of Ms. Clancy regarding the MMPI was that
Just the doctor, your opinion, doctor.
she was not faking. There was no evidence of any malingering. She presented as an honest citizen.
Okay.
Good job, Zeizel.
Now, regarding your background, I may have jumped the gun. Tell us briefly what your educational background is.
I have a bachelor's degree from Queens College. I have a master's degree from Harvard University and a doctorate in clinical psychology from William James College.
And your career spans how many years, sir?
I've been licensed for 37 years.
And would you consider yourself to be a forensic psychologist?
Yes, I do.
And as you indicated, that's the interface between medicine and law. Is that correct? Forensic?
And mental health and law, yes.
Mental health and law. Okay. In this case, your experience obviously is something somebody has to evaluate. Can you tell us your history as a psychologist? In other words, your experience that you've had in the field.
Yes. Well, in the field, I have, as a forensic psychologist, been involved in over 1,000 cases, testifying for both the Commonwealth as well as for Respondents' Counsel. I testify more for respondents or defendants these days. I've been qualified in every court in the Commonwealth with the exception of Nantucket because I've not done any cases in Nantucket County. I have a small private practice. I have done work with governmental agencies, psychologist for the DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, and I've worked as a federal contractor, as a vendor overseas for the State Department in Afghanistan.
How long were you in Afghanistan?
I was in Afghanistan from November 2007.
Studying veterans with PTSD, I think, is probably implied, but there you go.
To roughly mid-February 2011.
So for that 4-year period while you were in Afghanistan, what was the nature of your work?
The nature of my work was basically the equivalent through the military, the analogies with the military as a combat psychologist. I was embedded in the field. Oh, wow. I would do evaluations, what we call critical incident debriefings. And when there would be multinational forces, and in Afghanistan, it was the ISAF coalition, International Security Assistance Forces. That would be countries that were deployed over there. England, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Romania, Bulgaria, Australia, New Zealand, a total of 38 countries. I could go on, but I'm not going to. And I'd be loaned to various countries in different parts of the country to do debriefings after a critical incident, which would be what's called a TIC, TIC, troops in combat. I'd fly out, usually on a helicopter, do the debriefings of the people who survived those attacks, engaged in those attacks, and ensure that they were stable enough to continue.
This was the first doctor that was allowed to come into the hospital room to see Lindsay Clancy. This is what he was trained to do, to go into a room with people who have suffered a tragedy, who have survived a tragedy, been a part of a tragedy, seen a lot of folks being unalived around them. He is the person they sent in to debrief soldiers who experience these horrific tragedies of war. He was the first doctor allowed into Lindsay Clancy's hospital room, and he evaluated her in, I think it was 2 weeks after the incident.
and, if you will, fit for duty. I would also do evaluations on violence assessments,
thank you for
individuals
your
who had
service,
problems
Dr. Zeizel.
maintaining their ability to function safely in a war zone where everyone carries at least one weapon, usually two, to ensure that they were able to be healthy for their work. And I would do various types of training and debriefing. I was also loaned out to other governmental agencies, the U.S. Marshals, the FBI, the CIA, and with each of those agencies, there would be various issues that were necessary. People getting hurt, people killing individuals who attack them. And when that occurs, as one would imagine, there's great trauma that goes with that. And these people were not necessarily negatively impacted in the moment, but we would make sure that they were healthy enough to continue their work. If need be, if they were psychologically impaired, I would be involved in helping get them sent over back to Europe, to Landstuhl, Germany, sometimes to Dubai, and help with individuals who suffered themselves with issues back in the United States. I would have to do death notifications with the military. I would help with issues of conflict with other soldiers and contractors and agencies, dealing with all the issues that one might expect could come up in various parts of a war zone. I was often sent to what are called FOBs. Those are forward observation bases, generally about 100 people, more or less, in those bases, multi-international. And I was also sent to COPs, COPs, combat outposts, very remote, in the middle of nowhere, on mountainsides where you walk up goat trails just to get to where your small bases. And the billets were often cots in tents that were erected on rocks and no electricity, quite remote. And I was on many, many dismounted patrols with the belief that having a psychologist or someone psychologically trained to deal with what it's like to be in a war zone would be therapeutic, if not therapeutic, explainable and helpful. I did many of those events.
Wow.
At some point, did I ask you to become involved to some degree in this case?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury when that was?
I received a phone call from Attorney Reddington late in the evening on February 3rd, 2023. It was late because I was already in bed sleeping and the phone rang. It was about 11:30.
And without getting into the details, did I advise you that I was representing a young woman by the name of Lindsay CLANCY and that she was severely injured and she was in a hospital?
Yes.
As a result of that, what did you do?
That next morning, I went to Brigham and Women's Hospital, went to the front desk where one would normally check in, and there was a woman there who I felt was a volunteer. I explained who I was. I explained that I was asked by Attorney Reddington to evaluate Miss CLANCY on the surgical ICU unit.
Were you able to access her to speak to her?
Eventually, yes.
And when you say eventually, what's the time frame of time?
I was initially told I couldn't go. I had to wait 30 minutes. Attorney Reddington called the chief counsel of the hospital to enable me to have access to the unit where Miss CLANCY was staying.
When was it that you were able to get into the unit to see her?
12:30 in the afternoon.
What day?
February 4th.
So it should be January 24th, 7, so this is almost
11 days
later, right?
Yes.
You're also aware that I needed a court order to get you into the hospital.
That's correct.
And were you able to ultimately get in the hospital, go to the surgical unit, and meet with Lindsay?
Yes.
Jurors have had a chance to look at photographs of her laying in the bed with tubes and wires and all of that. Is that what she looked like when you first saw her?
Yes. However, she was also with her right arm, as I recall, shackled to the bed with handcuffs.
So did that little soft little things that tie her hands to the side of the bed with the handcuffs?
They weren't soft. They were regular, but appeared to be metal handcuffs that police officers and perhaps officers in this court use for detaining people and arresting people.
So
they were not
The
soft.
reason why he's making a point of that is because all of the testimony, not all of it, but some of the testimony from the prosecutor's case in chief said that she had soft restraints, meaning, cushioned restraints. Zeizel is saying she was handcuffed with regular old metal bracelets, like police bracelets. So
she's laying in the bed. Did she have the tubes and the wires for treatment in the emergency, the intensive care unit, I should say?
Yes.
Was she intubated at that point, if you recall?
She was not.
So she was able to speak?
Yes.
Was she able to move? Obviously, she's chained to the bed, so she couldn't get up.
She could not get up. She couldn't move below her sternum, the chest bone.
At that point, had you and I met and talked about this case at all?
No.
What was the reason I asked you to go to the hospital?
You are worried about her mental health, given the significant event that had just taken place a few days earlier. You were concerned that she had absolutely no ability to have visitors Visitors were not permitted to meet with her, from family members to friends to a priest. No one was able to see her.
So as a result of that conversation we had, you went to the hospital, went into her room, and you were able to speak to her. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors, if you recall, what type of law enforcement presence? Uniform, cops, guns, stuff like that. What did you notice?
I noticed.
Why, like Jeff said, she was paralyzed. It's a bit much MSP. It's like the only time they do too much is when they shouldn't.
Literally outside of her hospital room were two state troopers in their blue uniforms, sitting each in a chair on either side of the doorway to Miss Clancy's room, with a nurse sitting in the corner of her room.
When you went in to see her on that date, was it your understanding she had recently been extubated? In other words, they removed the tube from her mouth?
Yes.
And do you recall the conversation that you had with Lindsay at that time?
Yes, I did.
Tell the jurors what your memory is.
The conversation I had with Miss Clancy at that time was one where I asked if she knew where she was. So I did what's called a mental status exam, a brief mental status exam. It's orientation to time, place, location. She didn't know where she was. Wasn't quite sure what time it was. She knew who she was. And she told me that she remembers what happened, but it was very fuzzy and foggy. At the time, she had been on medication for the significant pain post-surgery while in that hospital room.
And during the course of that interview with her, did she express any concern to you about her husband, Patrick?
Yes, she did.
Tell the jurors what she indicated to you.
She said, since 11 days prior to my meeting with her, which would have been January 24th, 2023, she had no contact with Patrick. She wanted to know how he was doing. She wanted to know if she could call him and find out where things are with her and with him and how he was faring, and to just speak with him.
She expressed concern about her family.
I think the
Yes, she did.
prosecution is going to
She
pick
expressed
that
concern
apart.
about what had happened.
Pick that apart, because what he says is she wanted to call him and find out where things were with her and him, meaning they're going to pick apart the fact that he says that sounds like she's focusing on the relationship. I don't think that's exactly what they're saying. I think she is concerned about the fact that she hasn't seen her husband or talked to her husband in 11 days. She hasn't had any opportunity to tell him what happened, and he has been suffering alone. I mean, obviously he was with his family, but he is probably so confused and has no idea what happened, and they haven't been able to talk. It'd be like, I mean, they are married to each other. They share children together. This horrific thing happened, and they haven't been able to talk in 11 days. It's crazy to me.
Where things are with her and with him and how he was faring, and to just speak with him.
She expressed concern about her family.
Yes, she did.
Did she express concern about what had happened?
Yes.
Did she ask you, or did you offer to her the ability to speak to her husband, Patrick?
She asked me if she could use my cell phone to call her husband.
Did she do that?
Yes, she did.
Did you hear the conversation?
Yes, I told her we'd call. It would have to be on speakerphone.
And tell us about that conversation.
So that first phone call, I believe on the 24th, he did not pick up. She left a message. I did not leave a message. We then called back 2 days later on the 6th.
And after the 2 days had transpired and the call was made on the 6th, did she have a chance to talk to Patrick?
Yes.
Were you there?
Yes.
Was she still chained to the bed?
Yes.
Were the cops still outside the room?
Yes, not in blues. They were in civilian clothing, jeans, flannel shirts.
And tell us what she said to Patrick in your presence on the speakerphone at that point.
She told Patrick that she loved him very much. She was unable to express a lot of emotion, but she expressed love for him. And she had said that she heard a male voice ordering her, telling her that she didn't have any choice, but she had to kill her children and then kill herself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Doctor, have in mind your background, your career, did you tell Lindsay Clancy to lie or make that up and pretend that she was hearing voices?
No,
No.
of course he didn't.
Do you have any conversation or any suggestions to her at all that she should say she heard voices or anything like that?
Absolutely not.
Why did you let her call her husband on your cell phone?
I let her call her husband out of human compassion.
There you go.
As time went by, did I then, oh, by the way, you've testified for me on other matters, have you not?
Yes.
We go back about 20 years
Yes.
and we socialized together?
Yes.
So we're friends.
Yes.
Well,
And as you worked on the case, can you tell the jurors what information you had access to that would allow you to continue with your investigation as a psychologist?
I had access to her clinical records. Many of that were discussed here. Emergency records, grand jury minutes. With the longitudinal nature of my evaluation, I had records from Brigham and Women's, South Shore, Spalding Hospital, and most recently Tewksbury Hospital, which go back to, I believe, March 27th or so, 2023 till today.
How many times have you seen Lindsay since that day in January of 24?
So I've met with 2023. I've met with Ms. Clancy over 45 times
Wow.
since then. And that was at the writing and the issuance of my report to Attorney Reddington. That was in the middle of June. And I've seen Ms. Clancy since then 20 times probably, or 15,
times.
inclusive of being in this courtroom and sometimes meeting with her in the holding unit.
And we've had occasion to visit with her in Tewksbury Hospital many of those times, right?
Yes.
And you've had occasion to visit with her in the lockup to this courthouse, correct?
Yes.
And she's been treated very well by everybody, the court officers, everybody, is that correct?
Objection. All of this.
Yes, sustained.
Well, you've had a chance to see her in the lockup, right?
Yes.
Why would,
No, overruled.
why would you see her in the lockup?
I would see Lindsay Clancy in lockup because the nature of presentation in this court has been gut-wrenching for anyone who would be exposed to such horrific.
Objection, Mrs. Wright. It's not relevant to the question.
Can I see counsel?
Hold on, we're going to go back to this in a second, but I wanted to bring this comment up. Scream Queen says, doesn't this really throw the prosecution suggestion off that the first time he went in there, they came up with the command hallucination if they never even spoke to Patrick that day? I think what throws the prosecution's case off about the command hallucinations is that she told other people that she was hearing voices before the event. So I don't know. I don't know what the prosecution's going at here. This was a strange interaction, so let's back it up a little bit.
To see her in the lockup, right?
Yes.
Why would,
No, overruled.
why would you see her in the lockup?
I would see Lindsay Clancy in lockup because the nature of presentation in this court has been gut-wrenching for anyone who would be exposed to such horrific.
Objection, Mrs. Wright. It's not.
Okay, so he, just to reiterate, Kevin Reddington said, why would you go visit her in lockup? And Zeizel's answer was, because the prosecutor, I'm paraphrasing it, because the prosecutors are such heinous humans and have been presenting this case in a way that it's causing more trauma to Lindsay and to her family and to her friends and to this jury and to this court. So I have been going in to counsel her because she's experiencing more trauma because of the way these two douchebags from the Commonwealth are trying this case. And of course they object to that. And then the judge says, I'd like to see it sidebar. I don't know why, but he does.
It's not relevant to the question.
All right, can I see counsel again?
I withdraw. Let me
All
see you
right, so that answer, Lisa, that answer is stricken. Okay.
Okay, so then Reddington withdraws the question. It was enough to get it in front of the jury. And he says that answer is stricken. I don't know. I don't know what the big deal was. It's not like Zeizel was saying anything. I mean, he was saying the truth. This case has been so traumatic, and having to relive all of this is traumatic. And the way it was presented to you all has been so traumatic that I had to do extra counseling with Lindsay. I wish Zeizel could give us all extra counseling at this point.
Tewksbury Hospital. Have you had to see her to evaluate her in addition to your testimony for a jury?
Yes.
What?
Because the nature of mental health is something that's not a static or what we consider historical piece of information. Static information means a date of birth. That's never going to change. Dynamic issues are things that are subject to change, like the weather, like your health, like your mood. So to do an evaluation for a case that Ms. Clancy is involved in, which is a triple homicide case, requires an examiner to ensure that she's competent to stand trial and that her mental health is stable enough to be able to go forward with court proceedings.
Is there an additional component, has there been an additional component of her suicidal ideation since she's been in custody at Brigham and Women's and then of course transferred years ago to Tewksbury?
Objection.
Can I see counsel?
A woman's additional component of her,
With court proceedings.
is there an additional component, and has there been an additional component of her suicidal ideation since she's been in custody at Brigham and Women's and then of course transferred years ago to Tewksbury?
Objection.
Can I see counsel?
Oh, she's all being pissy. So this is a really important question that Reddington is asking, because one of the things that the prosecution has to prove, well, the thing that the prosecution has to prove, we talked about this before, the prosecution has to prove that she was sane in the moment that this happened with her children. And you've heard Reddington say this many times over the past 2 weeks, that she's still suicidal to this day. So he's asking Zeizel, he noticed any suicidal ideations or tendencies since he's been treating her over the past 60 sessions with her since 11 days after this incident. If he can prove that she still has suicidal ideation, that she can't be left alone, that everyone's worried she's still going to try to kill herself to this day, then that really hurts the prosecution's case.
See, counsel.
Yes, we can refer to the prosecutors as harpies. Sorry if me saying douchebags offended anybody. It's just like something that I say. It's in my vernacular. So we're going to go to sidebar for a little bit.
Photographs. So, Doctor, while you're evaluating her, whether it be in Tewksbury or you're visiting with her here, her present state of mind is always an interest to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in addition to all of the police reports, grand jury minutes, photographs, and things that you've described for us, sir, have you also had occasion to review all of the medical records without going through every one of them, dealing with Jennifer Tufts, Gelada, drugs that were prescribed to her, et cetera?
Yes.
Were you able to take a family history and a school history from Lindsay?
Yes.
Were you able to take a medical history from Lindsay?
Yes.
Were you concerned about her status as a woman who had recently had a child, Callan, in the spring of 2022?
Yes.
And what time frame was it that you were focusing on for purposes of your evaluation as to her mental state after having Callan, when she was postpartum?
The time frame started in roughly September 2022 through January 2023.
And during that period of time, you were aware that she had certain symptomology. Again, we could go through every single one of them, or we can just say, yes, she did express that she had symptomology. Here was her evidence up to this point.
Yes, many times
And
to other people.
Did she see doctors?
Yes.
At the Tufts?
Yes.
Was that the first time that she was expressing anxiety and her concerns about insomnia, and that she went to see Dr. Tufts and she was prescribed the SSRI?
Yes.
Okay. July, June, August of 2022. What was her mood at that point?
Her mood was waxing and waning at times, but struggling as well in common sense ways. Having 3 children, ages 5 and under, not an easy task.
So in the fall of 2022, when she went to see Dr. Tufts, that's when she was prescribed the first SSRI.
Zoloft, yes.
And that would, and again, when she had the second baby, that would be Dawson.
Yes.
Did she have also indicia, symptomology of anxiety and the symptoms that she had described that she required that she had to be placed on some medication?
Yes, she did.
Yes.
What was that medication?
I believe that was trazodone, if I'm not mistaken.
When she was in nursing school, prior to that, was she placed on medication?
Yes, she was.
And that was because of public speaking nerves? What was the medication?
There were multiple medications. I believe it was propranolol, and I believe it may have been trazodone or Wellbutrin, but I'm not totally positive of that.
Do you recall that she was prescribed an SSRI when she was in nursing school?
Yes.
What was that?
That was Zoloft.
When she saw Dr. Tufts and she took the Zoloft, it was 25 milligrams initially, is that correct?
Yes.
Was it increased?
It was increased to 50 milligrams sometime later.
And how did she react to that?
She didn't take the medication initially. She waited a few weeks until she started on the lower dose.
So my question was, how did she react to the increase in the Zoloft?
Poorly.
What does that mean?
It was not a therapeutic uplift for her. She didn't.
Rachel, so glad you're here. Rachel says, just got here, but I feel very validated that everyone across the board has their flabbers gasted yesterday. I don't know. They are the ones who should be worried about mortal sin. My flabbers were definitely gasted. And I agree with you on this. Buckingham is Matilda and Aunt Lydia somehow. Very Aunt Lydia. Very, very Aunt Lydia. If you know, you know.
She didn't do well. She didn't feel better. By all reports from Ms. Clancy, she did not get better.
How about sleeping? Did she have any complaints about sleeping?
Yes.
What was that?
Her insomnia got worse with the passage of time.
As September turned into October, it turns into November, around the time of Thanksgiving. Had she continued to seek help from medical health care providers?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Who did she seek to get help from?
Well, the initial person, I believe, was her mother-in-law, Sue Clancy, and who was a labor and delivery nurse in New
Who did she see as a result of Sue Clancy?
I believe it was Julie Paul initially.
And what group was she affiliated with?
South Shore Perinatal Health.
Did Ms. Paul, nurse practitioner Paul, prescribe medication for her?
Yes.
And did she continue to deal with South Shore Perinatal?
Yes.
When at some point did she stop dealing a short period of time with nurse practitioner Paul?
Yes, Nurse Paul left.
And why was that?
She got a transfer position. It had nothing to do with her patient load, or
so she was transferred.
She was transferred.
Okay.
Yes.
So as a short period of time, she was transferred. Who was the next person that she dealt with?
Rebecca Gelada.
Did Rebecca Gelada have a particular position? Was she a nurse practitioner?
Yes.
And how long did she deal with Rebecca Gelada?
3 appointments.
And during that period of time with Rebecca Gelada, was she prescribed medication?
Yes.
What was the medication?
I believe it was Seroquel.
How did she react to that?
Poorly.
And as time went by, going into the holiday season, Thanksgiving, do you recall what her symptomology and complaints were to the healthcare providers at that point, whether it be Tufts or Gelada, anybody?
Yes.
What were they?
She had many concerns about her health. She wasn't feeling well. She felt out of touch with herself. She felt numb. She experienced disassociation.
All right, stop right there. What is disassociation?
Disassociation is a psychological construct. That means you feel removed from your body. You don't feel in touch with your body. You feel different than the way you normally do. You look back at your life and you say, something is wrong with me. I'm not feeling the way I normally do.
Did she express, for example, when the jury looked at the medical records on November 27th of 2022 to nurse practitioner Gelada, that she felt that she was out of her body and that she had a disassociated state?
Yes, and that's sometimes known as a depersonalization. You feel removed from your body. You feel removed. You feel as if you are not in your full body.
Now, at that time, was she also complaining of other symptoms? And to cut to the chase, was she saying that she could not emote, she couldn't feel love, she couldn't feel happy, she felt heavy,
Yeah.
she couldn't walk, she couldn't bathe, she had difficulty relating to people? Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. She couldn't get out of the bed. She had total flattened affect.
Did she then seek additional help?
Yes.
Where?
She went to the, I believe, the emergency room initially at South Shore to go to Mass General.
And did they prescribe additional medication for her?
I believe they did, yes.
Did she make any expressions to her treating physicians up to this point about what in her opinion, what the medications were doing to her?
Yes.
What did she say?
She said she was in a brain fog. The medications were making things worse. They were not helping. They were not helping her.
Now, as that time went on into the period of Thanksgiving up to around Christmas,
I love that he's
did she
using
continue to
Zeizel
reach out to
just
people for help,
completely laid
such as suicide hotlines?
case.
Yes, she reached out to.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Why did she call a suicide hotline?
She was worried about killing herself.
And did she get any help from the suicide hotline?
She was turned away.
How about the second time she called the suicide hotline?
She was turned away.
How about when she went to the Women and Infants program in Rhode Island?
They told her she was not a good fit for the program. Because she was overly medicated.
And did she continue to seek help from healthcare providers?
Yes.
And what was the next thing that happened as far as dealing with healthcare providers for Lindsay in her postpartum stage?
She went to the Mass General emergency room.
What happened there?
On 12:30, she said she needed to go to the hospital. She was at the emergency room. She was sent to McLean Hospital in Belmont. It's a Harvard-affiliated hospital.
Now that McLean Hospital, when you say was sent to, fair to say that even though they had to transport her, it was a voluntary commitment?
Yes.
And what was her state of mind that caused her to have a voluntary commitment to the locked wards of McLean Hospital?
She was worried about killing herself, and she uttered concerns about killing her children.
How about, did she relate any intrusive thoughts and dark thoughts, things of that nature during this period of time, October, November, December?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
She said she had, quote, horrible thoughts, unquote. She felt that people could actually hear her thoughts. The thoughts were so loud that strangers could hear them. Sometimes.
She expressed at that point, for example, that she was concerned about school teachers with the little Sprouts school with the kids, that they could read her thoughts and that she would lose custody.
Yes, it's called ideas of reference. You believe other people can hear what you're thinking, and that can have a very negative interpretation for the person believing that, feeling that, and thinking that the outcome is going to be a negative one, that their children may be relieved from their care.
Now, as it relates to the concept of psychosis, can you tell me in 25 words or less what psychosis is?
A psychosis is what's considered a major mental health disorder. It's when people have disorganized thinking, and the symptoms most typically are hallucinations. There are different types of hallucinations. 80% of people with psychoses hear voices. There are different types of voices that one can hear. Benign, get a glass of water. Benevolent, you're a good person, keep it up. Or malevolent, threatening them, telling them, ordering them to do something horrible, and you believe those voices.
During that period of time, when she got out of McLean Hospital, what medication was she titrating or getting off of?
I believe she's getting off the Seroquel.
Was she able to do that?
Yes.
Relating back to November 27th with the disassociative state, is that an indicia, is that an indication or harbinger of psychosis?
Yes.
And does a psychosis, is that something that somebody would be suffering from a psychosis for a month at a time, 2 months at a time, or is that short periods, or how does that work?
Just
people with psychosis have intimate.
Think of the impact of this testimony. You heard this guy's background. He was sent in to evaluate veterans who had experienced trauma on the battlefield. He was sent all over the world to do this. He was there to determine if somebody was able to continue on with their job. He was sent into Lindsay Clancy's hospital room 11 days after this incident to determine whether she was experiencing psychosis at the moment that she unalived her children. His answer to that question is yes, and he has laid it out so perfectly for this jury. It's like, bravo, this guy, I wish he was testifying in every case we watched. It's so clear and so concise and so powerful. And Reddington, they've obviously talked about this quite a bit. Reddington is keeping him completely on track. He's not letting him add any fluff. He's like, Reddington knows his script right now, and it's really good.
Intermittent symptoms. They can function fine one day, and the next day.
And this is the part where psychosis doesn't present over like a 2-week period and you're psychotic every single day. It's about a snap, or it's about a light bulb going off, or it's about a voice telling you to do something.
They can be hearing voices. They could be seeing things, feeling things, smelling things. To be clear, those additional types of hallucinations did not plague Ms. Clancy. She only had auditory hallucinations. But hallucinations are like the waves at the beach. They come and go.
They're called waxing and waning?
Yes.
And would you tell me, doctor, in your opinion, is an individual, and we refer to postpartum psychosis, is that a particular affliction that afflicts women that have had babies and they go through a period of postpartum depression and then ultimately postpartum psychosis?
Yes.
Can you tell us, is a person, even if they are in the throes of psychosis, are they able to make a phone call?
Yes, they can.
Are they able to drive a car?
Yes.
Are they able to say, hi, Hawaii, I'd like to have a hot dog?
Yes.
They don't have to look at the unicorn in the corner, right?
That's
There it
correct.
is again.
Mr. Reddington, it's 4 o'clock. It's a good time to.
Sure.
All right. So members of the jury, we're
So,
going to recess.
Really powerful testimony. What's happening right now is Zeizel is being crossed by the Harpies, and we are going to be covering that tomorrow on the show. It should be very interesting. Let's see, it's 11:30. Rebecca will be back with me tomorrow at 2 p.m. D-Cool says, unserious question. How do we get the nice voices that tell me I'm doing a good job? I can be that voice for you. You're doing a great job. I'm proud of you. Keep working hard. You're doing great. Also, I wanted to say, Jessica Dixon, thank you for the 2027 tip. Love y'all. Guys, I have to jump off because I actually have to go to a doctor's appointment myself, but I appreciate y'all so very much. I'm so glad you're here with me. Today was a very interesting day of testimony. I feel like the case was absolutely clearly laid out for the jury. The prosecution's case was so all over the place and so weird, and this has just been so clear so far. I'm so thankful for Kevin Reddington. I am so thankful for all of you in the chat. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. You're all good people, and I'm proud of you. And I am going to see you back here tomorrow at 2 p.m.
You hear it first in the break in the story. One little crack and the whole thing gets wary. A witness swears, but the timeline bends. A smile too smooth and the trail just ends. Mel Barrett says, hold up, look again. Rebecca Lavoie follows every thread. If it feels too neat, then it's not the truth. There's a shadow line running through the room. Something's off, something's off. You can feel it in the bones. Something's off, something's off. When the facts won't come home. Something's off, something's off. And the case won't stay in place. Something's off. We're the ones who chase